What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense. It's open panel call-in show, so I have no control over these. You guys can feel how you want to feel. I'm gonna drop the link, and what I want, the people who I want to click it first are the people who feel like Diddy is going to get off. Maybe you don't feel like he's innocent, but you feel like the case is not going to be proven in the way that the prosecution hopes. So I'm gonna drop the link. Those people hit the link first. If you're new to the channel, hitting the link just means clicking the link that I pinned to the top of the live chat. Click it. I think it's like a quick sign in, and then I will bring you up. And it's unfiltered. So however you feel is however you feel. If you have like a question for me, now would be the time to ask it. But we're gonna keep these like short, and we're gonna move fast because we got a lot of new subscribers. So the link is dropped. If you feel like he's going to get off or he's innocent, y'all click the link first. And like the video's intro plays, we got a lot to get into. Make it make sense. What
I love about Mims, Make It Make Sense. He's a YouTuber. He gets the court record. So he gets the cases.
Make it make sense. You knew what was up.
Because Diddy, you're going to jail.
What happened to the sound? Hold on.
I was listening to Make It Make Sense. Shout out to Make It Make Sense. Thank you.
Make it make sense to me intellectual.
Sense Mims, who a lot of people have been asking to be on the show.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Made sense.
Make it make sense. You knew what was up.
Big Mims.
Surfer.
Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, daddy. You putting in that work.
Right here. This is my wife right here. See what I'm saying? This is what I do. That's what I like. He came in here want to act like he was all hard and manly. You come in here acting hard, we gonna see how hard you is.
Somebody said make a poll to see. Now I dropped the link. It's in the chat. LXU, thank you for becoming a member. JA, thank you for becoming a member. And LaShawn Williams, thank you for becoming a member. So remember, click the link first. We're going to get into the people who believes that he's guilty and he's going to be going to jail. But I want to start with who is probably the minority. If you don't feel like the prosecution has a strong case, or you feel like that Diddy is innocent, come up first. And everybody else will be able to come up. And it almost, this ain't the channel where I'm going to tell you how to feel. You're good over here. You can feel how you want. Let me see. Somebody said do a poll. Can I do a poll from here? I think I have to do a poll from. Well, I'll work on the poll while the first person is talking. Lilith.
Hello.
Hello, Lilith. You
wanted to ask, so I thought I'd pop in and say hi.
You are the straight shooter who works at a sex club, right?
Swingers Club, yes.
Swingers Club. Okay. Did you have any specific questions about the trial? Do you feel like Diddy's going to get off, or do you think he's going to be guilty?
I'd like to think that he would be found guilty. I know there's there's 7-8 more weeks going to come on. Yeah, there's going to be a lot more to be brought up, I'm sure. It doesn't all hinge on Cassie. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. But just with regards to going to the clubs, mm-hmm. These are very secretive places usually. Mm-hmm. You will find that they are everywhere, though. Every town you will find, if you know where to look.
At your swingers club, have you seen celebrities?
Yes.
I know you can't tell us the celebrities, of course. When a celebrity goes into a swingers club, are they extra cautious? Do they act weird? Do they go to special rooms?
They're usually pretty cautious. They usually like to sort of keep to themselves a bit. They generally bring people with them that they're going to play with that evening, if you know what I mean. They don't tend to pick from the crowd.
Oh, so so whereas Diddy had a freak off hotel that he would go, the celebrity swingers that go to your club bring their sex workers or whoever they want to party with them.
Usually, yes.
Oh, okay.
They come for the vibe for some reason. They want to show off.
I mean, like, I'm no like wallflower, and I'm a person who is sex positive. So I always like to say to people, because they think just because how I, talk about the trial and stuff like that, I'm a person who realizes that adults are going to do what adults do. And as long as you're doing it with other consenting adults, it's your business.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen anything that looks like sex trafficking at your club?
We are very wary of women that we think are paid help, if you know what I mean. We don't really appreciate that, mainly because, we don't do sex work in our clubs. We don't, expect people to be paying money for that sort of thing inside the club.
Hold on 1 second.
You pay to get in the door, basically.
Hold on one second. Larisha, there at the top of the live chat, I pinned a message. It's a link. If you want to come up, you just click the link. And you'll be able to like sign in. You don't have to call in on this channel, but it is a call-in show. Lilith, thank you so much. The back room is already like super packed.
Enjoy.
You'll be our eyes and ears from the sex club. We're gonna have no questions.
Okay, well, I just think that Cassie really went through it on the stand, and I'm glad she's done with, to be honest. Thank you very much for letting me in. Bye.
No problem. Have a good one. The Tea Lounge. Oh, I know you. You're muted.
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, the Tea Lounge is a content creator. She has been there every day with me. From your vantage point, well, first shout out your channel.
Yes, I am Lady T of the Tea Lounge, and you can find me over there in Tea Lounge NYC on Instagram and TikTok.
Can they find you at any swingers clubs?
No. They can't find me in any swingers club, and I am voiding the baby oil out at CVS. So
okay, so from your vantage point, because you've been in the courtroom,
yes.
Do you feel like they are proving their case, or do you feel like the defense is winning?
Thus far, I feel as if, and I think I have an unpopular opinion, that the defense is winning. I have spoken to a lot of
you think the defense. We like unpopular opinions around here. State your piece.
Just because I'm not looking at it from a standpoint of everything that I've heard and all the talking heads going into the courtroom. I went into the courtroom, but expecting to see him get thrown under the jail. I was expecting like a whole lot more evidence, and so at first I said, you know what, let me try to see this from like a unbiased place. Let me come into it like as if I'm a juror and what they would be expecting from a juror. You know what I mean? So that's how I've been watching the entire trial. I've had conversations with Lisa Bloom. I've had conversations with other like lawyers who are like affiliates with, major networks, and getting their thoughts and opinions on things that I've heard. I'm watching the reactions in the courtroom.
But no, specifically from your vantage point as a person.
Yeah. So from my vantage point, I was pretty much doing a temperature check on like, am I experiencing this correctly? I don't see the racketeering and the sex trafficking as of yet. What I see is a domestic violence and a horrible situation that this young woman was in with a horrific partner. However,
for those people who don't know, racketeering involves engaging in a pattern of criminal activity often through an organized group or enterprise to generate illegal profits.
Exactly. So, based on what she testified and what the people who testified said, I haven't heard that case proven out of her mouth. The assistants, didn't have a clue of what was going on as far as these freak offs were concerned. They asked her like line by line, did they, would you have been embarrassed if they had known? Have you shared with this with them yourself? And is it typical for an assistant to book a flight or so on and so forth? And I just have not seen any piece of evidence that I found to be so riveting that it embodied racketeering or sex trafficking as of yet. There's 8 weeks to go.
Specifically for the prostitution, were you there when she went over there was a second list of escorts? Were you there when she went over the second list of escorts?
Well, no. I know that there's escorts. That I think that.
Well, no. Specifically, were you there for the second set? Because I think it was like first day they went over one set, and then they went over a second set the next day. That one included Jules, the one who was in the hotel room.
And I suspect that Jules, they have some sort of a receipt on Jules because they continuously mention him. So I'm just talking about.
Well, hold on, real quick. Specifically, when they gave the second set, she made them list off states where the person was from, and then Cassie went over which ones they had traveled to meet them in other states. So
right.
That's the prostitution charge, which I think that's almost a shoo-in.
Right. I think they may have that. My concern was when she said it, she didn't say it definitively. She would always say, I'm not sure. I think I think I can't remember if they came or if they were with us, and I'm like, were they there or not? Like she was kind of like dancing or tap dancing around saying, let's say Jules, for instance, Jules was in Miami and New York, She was saying, I think, I'm not sure. And that's not, well,
no, I know for a fact they took Jules to Vegas. I mean, that's one of the weaker charges, but it's a charge. But I get what you're saying. Cassie was not really assertive in naming names. So I get what you're saying.
So I was
just like to give the counter.
I'm just waiting for her to say, like as soon as she would say it, she would take it back. And so then I'm like, okay, girl, you're doing too much. I can't rely on you. I want to hear from. Now, I understand that there was a third person that disappeared, but will we be hearing from that second individual?
The second woman?
Yeah.
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
She's the woman who I think recorded the call, and she was on Diddy's payroll. A lot of people think it's Young Miami. I don't think it's Young Miami. I think it's a young lady. I want to say her name is like Janie or something. And she was on a reality show on Tubi. And the allegation is she was dating Diddy and Kevin Hart. And Diddy actually sent her flowers to the show. That's the allegation. I wouldn't be surprised if it's somebody who we haven't really, really heard of.
Right. I'm waiting to hear from that individual because I think I'm hoping that they'll be more direct. Like I said that Cassie's testimony, had you ran it through Grammarly, it would have passive voice. It would be yellow lines all throughout her statements,
Hold on really quick. It says, why did Aubrey back out? Well, yeah, let's get to this real quick. So initially the statement was given to, I believe, like People magazine, that Aubrey would be testifying. It says Aubrey will not testify at the Diddy trial, but I talked to Homeland Security. Now, I'm not surprised that Aubrey is giving this statement to TMZ because there's something there, and I'll just leave it at that. I feel like Harvey has some celebrities that are with him till the end. Like, they don't really think about Harvey being... I feel like Aubrey, he's in bed with Diddy, but I'll leave that alone too. This is what she had to say.
And at any point did they tell you we're considering?
Where we New York, and
Yeah.
they immediately started jumping to conclusions. So can you clear that up? First of all, are you here to testify in the Diddy trial?
No, I'm not here to testify for the Diddy trial that I know of.
Well, you know what? Was that ever something that came up or consideration? Did you ever get a call? Any lawyer? Did you even stand by and maybe even think you might be called?
I was contacted by Homeland Security, and I did have a meeting with Homeland Security.
And at any point did they tell you we're considering you to testify? We're considering your evidence that you've given us in the trial?
They tell you to keep discretion with your meeting with us, obviously, because the trial has taken place. And, you know, aside from being on a poster board the first day of trial and jurors naming me, and that was a little uncomfortable because I didn't understand that piece. You know, the times we've talked in between since then, I feel it's at a comfortable place where I can say that now.
I mean, you posted a picture on like your Instagram story of you on the plane.
Here's my issue with Aubrey. Aubrey she does OnlyFans content. I don't really know what else she does for a living, but you can produce OnlyFans content anywhere. You heading to New York on the same week of the Diddy trial lends itself to you utilizing the Diddy trial for more publicity. Part one. Part two, I was ready to come on here and really give it to Aubrey, but I'm not, because Aubrey does have a story to tell, but it's up to Aubrey to tell it. This piecemealing shit that she's doing, I feel like it's an attention grab. AT2 had done this video and showed where she actually had posted some stuff about coming to New York and was reposting people. Here we go. This is on her stuff.
Trial. Let me show you a couple of her posts. She had posted this meme right here. Aubrey O'Day sleeping next to her Diddy trial clothes, right? Then she reposted this with a comment from Little Duval asking, when does Aubrey take the stand? And I almost forgot about this post. The start of the Diddy trial, she actually posted down, if you see in the comments, she said, Your Honor. So she had been teasing this whole time.
So why would you be, for lack of a better term, teasing that you're going to be there, reposting stuff, only to give Harvey a story later? I mean, she didn't give that to Harvey. I take that back. She gave it to it was like a black newscaster and a white newscaster who were both married, and they both started sleeping together. Amy, I think it's Amy Robichaud, Amy something. Is that the name of the podcast, y'all? Where is it? Where is the podcast? Amy Robichaud and TJ Holmes. Remember, they were newscasters who started sleeping together and then they ruined their marriages.
Yes.
He was on that podcast saying this. So this is what I don't like about Aubrey. Aubrey, I liked her and Danity Kane, but like, you're on baddies, and the baddie stuff is really to tease about this Diddy trial. So what would be the point? You're on baddies, and when pressed by Tammy, you were uncomfortable with her slapping the phone out your hand. So why would you go on baddies? It's like an attention grab. Y'all remember this? It was funny to me because I like Tammy.
But excuse me, do not do that to my phone. Well, we're trying to finish the show. Well, we can finish the show. And that followed that. Like, no, I wouldn't kick her by her house and give her all the things she wants.
Y'all remember
Maybe
this?
There's more to it, but he wasn't allowed to answer that. Do you think? Are you willing to give him the benefit of the doubt? Are you willing to give him the benefit of the doubt?
I forgot about it until you just played it.
She didn't even want Tammy knocking the phone out of her hand. But you know, it is what it is. T Lounge, thank you so much for coming up. My backstage is super full. Am I gonna see you on Monday?
Child, I'm not sure if I'm gonna see myself on Monday. I'm gonna try my best, okay?
When are you going to be talking about this topic on your channel? I've
talked about it so far. I'm having difficulty with like the transcripts because I felt like I'm not getting the full transcript, and I want to go through it before I, speak on things just to verify my notes, cross-reference my notes and stuff. But Yeah, so I've been talking about it, so I'll be back over there on Monday.
So you guys, I'm booking my hotel. Let me book it as while I'm on here. So I will be here for another week. That just happened live on air. I decided I'll be here. So I'll see you on Monday.
All right, see you later, y'all. Have a good one.
You too.
All right,
The
peace.
Dimp.
Hey, ma'ams. Hey, thank you for your coverage.
Oh no, thank you guys for watching.
Man, this is wild. So I wanted to come on just to say that I have been a little conflicted with Cassie because I felt like she had immunity. I
Mhm.
felt like they gave her immunity to testify because she was culpable in some sense of with the escorts and booking them and securing this and setting this up in the rooms and all of these things. So I felt like they gave her immunity, but then when she was on the stand, I felt like she was tap dancing as well. So it's like if you have immunity, and I don't know that she does, but if she has immunity, why are you tap dancing? You've already said so many things about what you did and how your life was with him. Just say it all. So I'm just a little bit on the fence about that. But I'm so glad that she got the 30 million
Mhm.
because I feel like she deserved every single penny of it. She deserved it. She earned it. She did all the things, the times that she wanted to do it and the times that she didn't want to.
Mhm. I hear you.
But she got the 30 million.
The 30 million shocked the fuck out of me. I mean, like I be knowing shit in the background, but I did not know that. Like I was in the courtroom, like what? Because technically, nobody had publicized the amount of the first case. So to find out that she had just settled, that was shocking.
So I knew that the hotel had an insurance, like they have insurance, right, for
So
these,
did Diddy. Mhm.
and so did Diddy, as right. But and I figured that she would file something to the hotel. I figured she would, especially since the security guy, the police, the what I call him, the flashlight cop, had filmed everything and how it all came out. So I figured that she was going to do some type of some that she was going to get a settlement from the hotel, but I wasn't thinking it was 10 million.
I shocked the hell out of me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, I thank you so much for coming up. We have a super full backstage, and I'm glad that look, on this channel you can have your opinion.
I
So
just want her to stop tap dancing. I wish she would have stopped tap dancing because she won't be on the stand again. So it is what it is.
all right, I hear you. Thank you
Have
so
a
much.
good night.
You too. Let's see. I know Simone is supposed to be here. Simone, I just sent you the link. Give it like 2 minutes. Hold on one second. Kavari.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. Where are you at? Who do you think guilty, innocent, prosecution, defense? Where are you at?
So I feel like I feel like he's definitely guilty. I just feel like the problem is that most people don't necessarily fully understand like what sex trafficking is,
Mhm.
how it works. Again, they don't understand what like racketeer, because like even like the person who was on just earlier, she was like, she doesn't see like the racketeering, but like he had a system where Cassie knew where to get the drugs, right? Like he from one of his employees, right? Like from a driver, right? So that and these are illicit drugs, right? So he has a whole system set up to get what, because Cassie would be like his hoe, quote unquote, to get his hoe of the drug to then perform sexually, right? Like it kind of, I think the problem is that people have to do like a lot of connecting of like the testimony in order to really like understand it. And I feel like that's the problem, because I feel like, you know, like a lot of prostitutes and streetwalkers, like if you ask them how they got into it, they say like it was a boyfriend right, who treated him better than anybody else in the world. Again, he asked her to do something that she wasn't comfortable sexually one time, usually it involved somebody else. And then she did it one time. And then he acts again. Again, it becomes a routine thing in the relationship. And then eventually, like, she's always doing it. And then he starts to like threaten her and beat her when she finally tries to like, not do it anymore. Right. And in those cases, we have no difficulty saying like, oh, like that's prostitution. But and a lot of them walk around still thinking like their pimp is their boyfriend, but it's not. Like he's paying them. It's a whole mental game, and the whole point is to blur the line of consent and to make it confusing for when it goes to court. And like there's even a term for it. It's called lover boy technique, and it's taught to pimps to do exactly that, to blur the line of consent, to make the transition easier from being a girlfriend to a prostitute. Like,
can I ask if you're in law enforcement?
No. I just like know a lot about this because like I've watched a lot of videos. I've talked to people. Like I know a lot about like the topics. I just feel like it's just I don't know. I think to see it for what it is, I think you need a lot of like background knowledge, and I feel like they need to really like give that background knowledge for people to be able to assess the case as it's supposed to be. And right now,
I think Cassie was just there to build. I think that the people that they are expecting to flip are going to actually, if they're going to win, those people are going to be the ones to prove the case. I was talking to a source today who's really, really familiar with these type of cases. And the source said that the attorneys, the prosecution, they advise you to be somewhat vague so that when the defense comes, they can't really trip you up. If you're not 100% certain, be vague. And so I was like, that she was, but it's going to be the people that flip. James Cruz, I keep saying, I've said it to so many news outlets. Why are people not more interested in the president who's been in freak offs with him in other court cases and settlements working for the prosecution? How are you not thinking that this man who's been around and was his butt boy, for lack of a better word, for years, how do you think he's not going to help turn the tide?
Yeah. And I don't know. And I think, it's so tricky because I think even like, like even like Cassie getting beat, and then like the security guards covering up or helping him find her, like all of that is a crime. Like all that is a crime, and then it's organized crime because it's like he has them to do that. Like he has them on payroll to do his bidding, and like you just said, even with people like the president, like it's very, I don't know. It's so tricky because I feel like people just, if you look at it from a very simple point of view, like he's not guilty. Like if you look at it from like, without adding all this context in, without adding all this knowledge in, he's not guilty. But when you add those background, it's like, it's clear as day that like, that's exactly what's happening. This is a RICO. I mean, this is this is a RICO. This is like, this is sex trafficking. This is.
To your point, I think when people hear one person picked up some drugs, they're not thinking organization. But there were a few very small things that I feel were impactful. One was when he put the word out that drug dealers in LA were not allowed to sell her drugs. Do you know how powerful you have to be and connected in that world to tell drug dealers in LA not to get any drugs?
Yep.
That's why she was having to get drugs from her friend Carrie and stuff. That is powerful. And then we haven't even heard anything about the freak offs. So if you have a person who's throwing parties maybe once, twice, 3, 4 times a month, and they are buying copious amounts of drugs, MDMA, coke, Tucci, all of these things, that's $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000. When the Viagra, all of these things cost money. You need a network to make that happen and not get caught. So there's little things like that can be proven later on, but I'm not going to lie and say that the defense did not have some good moments. Both of them did, but neither I felt were super, super strong.
Yeah. And yeah, and
But
I think
hold on one second, because we have like a really, really full backstage.
Right, yeah.
You guys can put in the chat. I don't do a lot of these open panels, but if you like the open panels where we kind of like move through, put it in the chat if you kind of want me to do these maybe 2-3 times while the trial is going on. But thank you, Kavar. People in the chat was agreeing with you. Maybe you missed your mark not going into the SVU.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a good one. Okay, guys. So what's happening is a lot of people are trying to click in. So give it a minute. I'll let you guys know when to start clicking again. Vonnie Bo, you're up, Miss Bo.
Hey, Mims.
Hey, how's it going?
Make it make sense from the DC, the nation's capital. Oh my gosh, I am on. Okay. So my take, from experience. Okay.
Is this your first time calling into a YouTube?
This is my first time. I am so excited.
All right, I love that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So anyway, it's a buildup. It's a buildup. From experience. It's more of a domestic violence situation, and two people on drugs, and those are behaviors that people who are addicted to substances and like to party and got money, they're gonna do that. I don't think they're making the RICO charge, the RICO case yet. I'm starting to feel a little sympathetic to Diddy, because I don't want a black man. I don't want him to go down for that. They're trying to fit this into that. Let's get to the real RICO, where this sex trafficking is that's some real stuff. And how can one man be a whole enterprise? Come on, let's hear the other names, the entities, the banks, the politicians, the whoever else is involved. Okay. Diddy, and Cassie, I'm glad.
Go. So just to clarify, right now, in the first week, from what you've heard, you don't feel like the prosecution has proven specifically that there's an enterprise. That's what you're.
No, they've shown us that it was a domestic violent, drug addicted relationship with the behaviors that go into it.
Okay.
And they're not going to name all the big wigs, the people behind, the puppet master. They're not going to do that. So how can one person be an enterprise? You know what I'm saying? I'm glad Cassie, was able to tell her story and get it all out and get her money. But from experience, I have 8 years clean and sober, and I know the behavior. So it was really, I'm glad they told the story like that. But let's see. I need to hear some more evidence, facts, to really make these charges stick. So far, they're not sticking to me.
Well, first I want to say congratulations. 8 years is awesome. I know it's a one day at a time. My best friend, she has gone through rehab, and we always joke because I get tired of going to these chip ceremonies because she decided to get clean and sober on my birthday. Yeah. So her chip ceremony is always on my birthday. But yeah, I love it, and I'm so happy that she has found sobriety, and I'm very happy that you have, Ms. Bo, as well.
And I'm glad, and I hope Cassie and actually one more thing. I know you got to move. Diddy was a little bit too arrogant for me. He needed some of his air from his balloon. He needed to get that popped a little bit so he can come on down, humble on down. They needed time to get it. Like, if he hasn't been using in jail, he is probably just now waking up. Like, oh my gosh, I did this. I remember that. Oh, really? That happened? Oh, okay. Yeah. So it remains to be seen. Okay. Thank you for letting me come on your show. Oh my God.
Hold on. We have an attorney here. Simone, you heard. Did you have any response to Ms. Bo?
I did. I did. Yes,
is actually a real life friend of mine, Ms. Bo, and a content creator. So she's going to answer.
Yeah. So actually, yesterday on my channel is called "Girl, Is That Legal?" I had actually said that I believe that they have proven one half of the RICO, and I need to correct that. I looked at the indictment yesterday. I have it in my hands now. They've proven RICO. Let me tell you why. Now, first, of course, it has to be an enterprise. Here's the easiest way to describe it. It's literally called Sean Combs Enterprise. It's an enterprise. And then for RICO, it just has to be the enterprise has to be used to do things that are illegal. And we've already heard them testify, for example, that Sean had them bribe a worker at the hotel to get rid of the film. That's an example of illegal. That he had drugs supplied for the FOs. That's illegal. That there were prostitutes that they slept with in multiple states. That's illegal. All they need to show is that he asked someone, a friend, a foe, a staff, anybody, to do something that was illegal to be component of the illegal enterprise. But here's the ones that I think that they've shown proof about, and I'll let your panel, your guests talk and and say what they think they've seen. I'm going to tell you of the ones in the indictment. I'm going to read off which ones are there. I'm going to tell you which ones I think they've shown evidence of so far versus not. And so it goes A through H, but it is because once I looked at this, I was like, oh shoot, they've done more than I thought. So here's what the deal is. They only have to show 2 of these have occurred. And number 1 is they've got to show any example of kidnapping. We haven't seen that. Arson. We haven't seen that yet. Bribery. Yeah, it will be with Kid Cudi, right?
Dawn was the kidnapping.
I think the kidnapping is going to include Dawn and someone else, because for the kidnapping, they said one of them happened in New York and there was another instance in California.
Capricorn Clark.
There we go. Okay. So we got they can show kidnapping or arson or bribery. We saw the bribery. Bribery was day 1 with the hotel tape. Further proof of that is the hotel then settled, gave her $10 million. They not gonna give nobody $10 million if they hadn't had a staff member do something wrong. So we got the bribery, then tampering with the witness. Well, in offering the bribe, they tampered with the witness. Then we've got forced labor. Well, that's why they don't want Dawn testifying. Dawn is going to testify to the forced labor. And what's also one of the things that they could prove is possession with intent to distribute or distribution of narcotics. And I believe a component of Dawn's testimony is that in order to get them to work late and dance all night and practice all night is they would give them substances. So then that would prove that too. And then we've got the transportation for prostitution. So hold
on. Is making them drink alcohol considered giving them a substance? Because Dawn said that it was required if they were at a Diddy party, they had to drink or do drugs. And so this one particular party, KK told her, you need to stay here for a little bit longer and you need to at least drink. He wants to make sure everybody is drinking. Is that considered?
Not alcohol, because alcohol is legal. No, it has to be possession with intent to distribute or distribution of narcotics or controlled substances. So unless it was laced alcohol, no.
Gotcha.
Drinking alone is not a problem. Yeah. And then, so I say this, and then of course it was the prostitution in more than one state, which is it's transportation for the purposes of prostitution. So I say that to say, even if we find that it was just DV, there was no.
Simone, but what if there was no big black dicks in Vegas when he needed it?
3, because they've shown the bribery. Right. They show the bribery, they show the prostitution, and they showed the witness tampering.
They said clearly there was no big black dicks in Vegas. That's why they brought theirs from LA.
Don't nobody want that Tootsie Roll?
Stop, y'all. Listen, there's something here that says, from a juror perspective, they have they proven it? An attorney will see things a juror won't. And yes, you are an attorney, and I respect all of your expertise. But if I was
Simone is not going to be on the jury,
right? So
that's right.
Well, I don't know. Compared to sex trade they got going on now on this big scale. Diddy was a participant in it. He had money to call the shots. He was always a boss man, a control man. He always knew that money would make things go away. So
that's right.
I think that they're just trying to fit his stuff into that. That's some big Rico and all that stuff. That's some big stuff. He was just doing it with him and Cassie and their little posse when they got high for the last 10 years. That's what they've been. That was the behavior. And I don't know. It remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. They're gonna try to get him on something now. I'm sure.
Yeah, they are. I think the weakest so far might be the S trafficking. I know it's YouTube, but I think the trafficking might be of all the things the weakest so far. But I mean, the fact that like that bribery, I think that's gonna.
Simone, how can it be weak if she said that they were bringing prostitutes in or sex workers in from Miami to Vegas or from New York?
Okay, so let me clarify. Being a prostitute is not sex. Having a prostitute is not sex trafficking. I think that's where people get confused. Mm-hmm. There has to be a level of coercion. The difference between prostitution and sex trafficking is that you're making someone do it against their will. See, the challenge is that, like when Daniel Phillip got, I'm sorry. The difference is that with trafficking, it has to be against your will. Prostitution is voluntary. And what I'm saying is they, like Daniel Phillip, the sex worker, when he testified, he wanted to do that because he was getting paid. So there was no coercion. He doesn't satisfy the sex trafficking. And in fact, in the indictment, the only person named in the indictment who was sex trafficked was Cassie. That's why I say it's the weakest. Because if you believe that Cassie was simply domestic violence, then it was not necessarily sex trafficking. Does that make sense?
Cassie was down with it. Cassie was down with it. Okay, until she realized a moment of clarity. I'm not gonna be number one. He just wants me to do this. But they still loved each other. They still had a trauma bond. You know what I'm saying? Cassie was down with it. She didn't get paid, so she went and got the money, especially when she got married to her man. Her man said, hey, we're going to help you. We're going to get paid. You're going to get yours. You didn't get, it's a lot.
Hold on. So many people are in the back trying to get in. It's going to pop me out. So thank you so much. Definitely come back up. Like I said, everybody is safe over here to have your own opinion. We appreciate it. None of us are in the jury, so it's just opinion. So thank you so much.
All right. Well, I enjoyed it. I'm gonna be watching from the comments.
You can stay up.
Okay. No, I'm reading these comments, y'all. Yeah, I think it's really tricky because rereading the indictment, it wasn't until I reread it today that I saw that literally the only person that they have named in the indictment as being sex trafficked was Cassie. So the reason I say it's the weaker allegation is because if you believe that Cassie was a willing participant, then there was no coercion. Therefore, she could not be sex trafficked.
So another legal analysis is Cassie was okay with being a girlfriend. She felt like at the end of it, she was a worker. So if you believe that what she was saying in those text messages was just to keep from getting herself beat, but she really felt like a sex worker, then that, I guess, would be your proof.
No, that it was... not just that it was. No, that would be coercion. Like if she's doing it to not get beat, that absolutely is coercion. And yes, she could be seen as sex trafficked.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, she did not do a great job on the stand of. There were moments where I felt her, but I just feel like there should have been more pushback when they were showing the messages where she was like, I want more freak offs. Do I believe that she wanted more freak offs? No, I think she just wanted to be with him. And she knew that if she did not kind of like comply with what he wanted. Because there was even a message that he sent her saying, I think it was around 2009 or 2010, your job every day is to keep me horny. So do I believe that this girl wanted to do the freak offs? No. I just wish that when she was testifying, it was a little stronger. Mel, you had hey, Mel.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, you know what? This is a busy show, so I'm gonna be very brief. You know what? I don't think there's any danger of Diddy getting off. I think he will be convicted of something. And
He
I
was
went
getting off when he was rubbing that ejaculate on his nipples. He got off.
Oh, have mercy, honey. Listen, you know that he should be. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Crazy.
He got off.
Yeah. Well, then he did get off, right? Okay, I caught that one. That's true. No, but I think that yeah, he won't be getting off again. In that way, I don't think ever. Maybe if he gets convicted and go to prison. But I think that he's going to go. He's going to go away to prison. I believe that. I don't think there's any danger of that. But I was going to say too. You know, I from watching YouTube channels and listen and looking at Twitter and looking at the news occasionally, stuff like that. What I feel like for me is that this man has had a very problematic life with so many different people. And I'm thinking, I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like just as just watching stuff, I feel like the DAs basically did the best they could, because with all that stuff that he's allegedly been into with guys and people and businesses and mysterious disappearances or whatever, I think this is probably the best they can do. So I think that it's almost like dealing with a mob boss, to be honest with you. It feels like dealing with a mob boss.
Yes.
Come on, Miss Attorney, Miss Simone. It feels like dealing with a mob boss who was dealing with so many illegal things that they just had to do the best they could. And I don't feel any danger that he will be, released. I think that he will go down. I don't feel like Cassie.
You think he'll go down?
You know what? I'm not thinking sexually. I'm really not thinking sexually. You know what? Can I say this, Mims? Diddy has always looked like a damn, oh Lord, he was always a demented little nerdy Caribbean guy who was very insecure. So he definitely, that man is disgusting. But I think that Cassie herself was an ambitious woman, young woman, and maybe she was sexual and stuff like that. But I don't think in any shape or way that she was deserving of that horrific treatment. And I think that even though her testimony while she was at her last stages of pregnancy maybe wasn't as hard hitting, I think that she did what she could, and I think that he will go to prison. I do. I think that he will go to prison because he got too many. He's connected to too many crimes, in my opinion.
Is he Caribbean? I didn't know that.
I thought he was. I thought that his family, his roots was from Caribbean.
We ain't claiming him. He from
now I got to go look it up. But I thought that his background was from Caribbean.
Somebody is saying he's Jamaican.
Right, Jamaican or something. But he's definitely a nerdy, ugly little man. And I definitely don't. Yeah, I don't think of anything. But I think he will go to prison. I don't think there's any danger of that. And maybe, as the audience is saying, that they maybe made a mistake with the labels they gave him, as far as the RICO or this or that. I just think that they did the best they could. He will go to prison.
They definitely got him on that prostitution charge. I think we can all agree on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. But you know what? Listen, this was great, Mims, and it was so wonderful to see you two, Attorney. I'm going to get down so that other people can, come in and do what they have, get up here and talk.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mel. Have a good
night. Have a wonderful night. Okay.
Somebody said, is TD Jakes going to testify on Diddy's behalf? I don't know. No, I don't believe TD Jakes is going to testify. He had a lot going on with his own court case and stepping down as the pastor of was it Potter's House? Is it Potter's House?
Yeah, it's Potter's House.
So no, I don't think so. Miriam.
Hi.
Where are you at? Where you tell us?
I'm from Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, what else did you say?
Where do you feel like Diddy is guilty, innocent?
Guilty.
Okay. Expound. Go ahead and let us know how you feel.
I feel like men like that have been always hidden, and I feel like he's gonna obviously be exposed, which he has been. But I feel like he's one of those men, kind of like Harvey and stuff, for years and years, no one really no one does anything, but people hear things. I feel like this is P. Diddy's moment to go to jail, or prison. So I'm here for it.
Have you been following?
Yes, I have. And I'm sorry if I'm a little nervous. I've never like talked to anyone before on these platforms, but I love it. So I'm really happy. But yes, I have kind of with Cassie, I've been following it because I'm on Twitter a lot because of the Karen Reed case.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that the whole P. Diddy trial was going on, and I was like reading about it, especially for Cassie, because I was like, I want to know what's going on. So yeah, and I love her, and I feel really bad for her, and like, I don't think people understand trauma and like like domestic violence, and just like, it's kind of crazy how like some people blame her, and it kind of like shows like people like have a hatred towards women and will always blame women in a way, even though they were part of something so horrific. If they come off ever compliant or like complicit or like, yeah, compliant to the like with the situation, their credibility is lost. And they're like, well, she liked it, or well, she wanted it. And I'm like, that's just not how it works, really. And I feel like mentally that doesn't work. And I just feel really bad for like her and other victims. And I think kind of why I'm nervous and why I wanted to say something was when I was younger, around like 13 or 14, like I kind of went through pedophilia with someone in their 40s. And it took me a long time to like know I'm not the problem.
Right.
And obviously that's like 14 years old. Obviously she was not 14, but the mentality of like not understanding how it's like not your fault and how it's like okay and how like you're a victim. You know, it's hard to grasp it. It's hard to like grasp it and understand it and to even say it. But it's the truth. And so I wish people would just have more grace for her and for the upcoming other victims that decide to speak up and, you know, show up. And also, I understand people's feelings about her on the stand, but she's facing her, you know, her abuser. It's like a lot probably for her. And I wouldn't doubt if when people feel like she's maybe vague or whatever, maybe she doesn't want to disappoint him. Not like she's really trying to, but subconsciously her whole lot, like in this moment, she might be trying to like direct herself in a certain way because she's gone through so much stuff through her life with this man that she's right now in front of him and she doesn't want to say the wrong thing and doesn't want to do the wrong thing. So I feel like over the days though, she got comfortable and I think a lot of people saw that. So I think she just had to like soak it in, read it, understand it, and strive. Sorry, that was like a lot.
No. Let me start here. We've had a lot of people who have experienced a lot of trauma call in. So first, thank you for feeling comfortable enough to share with us your personal story. I really feel horrible that happened to you.
Thank
You made a good point. I don't know if you watched my video yesterday, but
I have.
you kind of touched on something. It seems small, but how these people, whether you are Cassie or Diddy, present aesthetically, it makes a difference. So if you look at Diddy, he has the white hair now, and every day he's wearing white and cream. Whereas Cassie, I didn't realize till the last day of her testimony, Cassie is around her abuser where she never felt powerful. So what you see her wear are power colors.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
She started wearing she wore a tuxedo jacket on the last day and she wore a blazer the second day because she needed to feel powerful. And then when Diddy made the comments to his attorneys that he knows how to break her down and he's trying to do a huddle with them, it was probably very reminiscent of her interactions with him when they were together. So I think you had a really good point. Simone, did you have anything to add?
No, I did. And this is, well, yeah. Okay, this was somewhat related to just all of this overall. Someone in the chat has asked, and they said for Simone, was him pulling her back towards the room in the hotel hallway considered kidnapping? And I wanted to say, I looked this up because when the video first came out, everyone was calling in, a bunch of people were calling into the DA's office in LA, to where the DA's office made a statement. They said, I'm sorry, but the statute of limitations expired. And I pulled the California statute of limitations on kidnapping, and either there wasn't one or it hadn't expired. So when I look further, California law requires you to move them a substantial, like to prevent them from going a substantial distance or something like that. So the answer is, I don't think in this case that the kidnapping is related to the hotel incident. I think it's what Mim said. I think it's Capricorn, because it's someone in California and it's someone in New York. And I think the New York person is Dawn, who's going to testify that he locked her in the car and her daddy had to come drive up from Baltimore to get her out. So I say that to say, because someone else was saying he's not being charged with kidnapping. Before you say something like that, go ahead and read the indictment like I just did. But I do think that when you're dealing with a relationship, it's been talking about, when it's a relationship context, it makes it harder for the prosecution to make people want to lump it into a RICO and, these other things where he's facing life. And I think for a lot of people in the chat too, especially the men, they probably see themselves in some of Diddy's conduct, and they don't like seeing the fact that if they knock their girlfriend around the room like this, they too could be facing life under these circumstances. So I think some of it is seeing yourself in his conduct.
But thank you so much, Miriam. Definitely
Thank you again.
Call back in. Again, thank you for sharing your story with us. And yeah, we were your first.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much. You have a safe night. Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Have a good one. Jasmine, you are up next. And remember, Girl Is That Legal has her own channel, and it is Girl Is That Legal. So definitely check her out. Jasmine.
Hey, ma'am.
Hey.
Okay, so like I am 100% on board with everything you have said, but I got to give my professional opinion, which is totally different than my vanilla life. Okay, a lot of people don't know about BDSM. You touched on the point about
Jasmine, where'd you go? That was not me. Jasmine, Jasmine come back. Oh, she can't come back because it's packed. Okay, hold off, Jasmine. Well, I'll tell you when to come again because it's a lot of people in the backstage. Legally Locked.
What up?
How's it going?
What's up, y'all? Hey, he cooked. He done.
Tell us why.
He cooked.
Tell us why.
And I've been waiting. But Attorney Simone said exactly what I was gonna say. They only need to prove 2 predicate acts for the RICO. They're either gonna get him on bribery, they're gonna get him on arson, they're gonna get him on kidnapping, they're gonna get him on obstruction of justice. That's 4 right there. They only need 2. They only need 2. Now, what we got to be worried about is his co-conspirators going to get up there and act like Wody or Kelsey and, I don't remember, I can't, I'm not really sure. But if anybody testifies that, yeah, I blew up Kid Cudi's car, yeah, I stood outside the car and held Don captive, like, he's done on the RICO. He's done on the transportation. The trafficking, too, is going to be a little gray. That's going to be a little gray. But the RICO, which is the worst charge, he done.
And see, they set him up. They set it up good, as in the government. Because many people are saying, well, how come there are no co-defendants? Well, that's because what they did is they told these people, you can be a witness or you can be a co-defendant. And they're making them testify first. If they get up on the stand and they pull a Kelsey or they pull a Lil Woody, then they're going to jail. That's why I don't think they likely won't have that problem, because the deals on the table for those people are contingent upon their testimony.
He done. And let me show you how they doing it. It's so funny. And I don't have a legal background. I just have a legal YouTube page where I talk about like all these cases and stuff. They're running the same playbook that they ran with R. Kelly. This is why I'm just laughing. I'm like, how do y'all not see the play that they running on him?
Yeah.
If you look up the R. Kelly trial, they got somebody from arson, because the dude went and blew up what's one of the two girls he was messing with? Azriel blew up her car. They got him for
I was the
arson on that with
first
the RICO.
attorney. I was the first attorney to sue R. Kelly civilly in New York, under New York law, like of any of the victims. And I did, that was in 2018, and I did it under the same civil law that these ladies are obtaining justice under now. So I 1,000% agree with you.
And look how they doing it too. Everybody's so focused on Cassie. I've been laughing the whole week. I'm like, y'all, he is so done, because they're going to put Cassie on and she's talked about all these horrible things. Then they're going to put victim 2 on. She's going to talk about all these horrible things. Then they're going to put the cook on. Then they're going to put this. And so it shows that this isn't just an incident with Cassie. You have a pattern of doing this. This is what you do. And the key to RICO is we need to show a pattern of you doing these same activities with these people and having your people run around and take care of this business. He done. It's the R. Kelly playbook. He done.
Okay. And you said what was your channel? Is Legally Locked your channel?
Yeah.
Oh, I have people blowing up my phone. Sometimes when I say the wrong shit, people will let me know in real time. Well, thank you. It was nice meeting you. I'm probably going to be doing these a few times throughout the trial, so definitely let us know why you be laughing at us again.
Well, not y'all. Just all of the comments. Most people are like.
Most attorneys are saying what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, most people are like, I don't really see the RICO. Where's the RICO? It's coming. It's coming. And Attorney Simone, I wanted to tell you, because you said Cassie was the only one with the trafficking. In the superseding indictment, victim 2 he has 2 counts of trafficking. So victim 2 is gonna testify to that too. But I still think that's gonna be great because it's 2 girlfriends, so that's gonna be a little great.
That's what I was gonna say. I think it's another girlfriend, and that's why they're leaning on the domestic violence. And someone said, so domestic violence, he just gets away with it. The problem is the statute of limitations, at least regarding Cassie, that domestic violence is passed. So he would, in fact, get away with it, is the answer.
But they're using the domestic violence to showcase force too, because that's why Don testified. Correct. He just took the frying pan out and she flinched. That's the force. But yeah, RICO, he done. All they need is two of his assistants or bodyguards, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Roger Bonds.
Oh, he would love to.
Oh, I definitely think he'll be somewhere as a witness. But thank you so much. We will definitely expect to see you on the next one.
Okay, I'm gonna come on down so you can let more people in. But I enjoyed chatting with y'all.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Okay.
Stacy, you're up.
Hi. I usually don't call into this because I'm getting in a lot of trouble with the people at my job about this. I think he is done, but I don't think he's wrong. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you why. Cassie been loving this. She been doing this, and y'all giving too much grace to a bunch of junkies that y'all wouldn't give grace to the junkies that you're related to. This is what I think. My opinion, just my opinion.
Okay, you're safe here.
She went and told this man, because she tried to be Mother Teresa with this new man. Told him all this stuff. Oh, he did this, he did that to me. So the man said, well, you should sue him. I love you, baby. All this and that. She didn't think it was going to blow up like that. She don't want him in jail. She still love him. She still wanted him. Had he not traded her in for a newer model, we wouldn't be having this. If he had gave her a baby, he had married her, we wouldn't have this problem. She would have never sued him. She would have been down with it like she been down with it, because she was down with it. Now, we're not going to sit up here and say young girls don't like older men and older men don't like younger girls. That's been a thing. Can't nobody make you use drugs unless you want to. Nobody's going to make me use drugs unless I want to. So that's out the window for me. I think that y'all looking at her, she's very pretty, she dresses really nice, and y'all like, oh, she's so sweet. That girl ain't innocent worth a damn. She been hoeing, and let me tell you, she been hoeing. She was loving everything about it until, let's bring up Young Miami. All of them mad about Young Miami. They didn't get the perks that she got, but she had something going for herself. Cassie can't sing. What record? She got one song. She whispering on that. Get out of here with that.
Stacey, they were playing Me and You outside the courtroom, and I saw some
that one song she got. 10 records
like pop locking and
I
dropping.
like the song, but come on. And one more thing I got to say before I go. I want to give Megan Thee Stallion some grace. I think that
Megan gets some grace. Okay.
This is why I'm going to give Megan some grace. I think that Megan Thee Stallion was blackout drunk. She don't remember nothing. I think she didn't remember. She didn't remember nothing. Kelsey told the Rock Nation people, whoever they was, what was going on. That's why she got X'd out. Then they put it together. The prosecutor, because he needed to make a name for himself. Well, he already had a name, but he wanted a big case, and that's how this happened. I really don't think that she perjured herself because she really believed this. And of course, if your friend told you this, and y'all all from Texas or whatever, and y'all go way back, of course I would believe my friend. Oh, hey, girl, you did this. Girl, you did that. Okay, well, this has to have happened like this. And I think that's what happened.
Stacey, can I ask you one question?
Mm-hmm.
So we, on this channel, we're a little bit messy. How you got in trouble with your job from calling into the shows? What you did?
Oh, no. I'll be in trouble for everything because, they say that I'm male identified. But I'm going to tell you why I'm male identified, because I'm a mother of a black man. I don't believe nothing these whores say. Because I'm going to tell you this, too. I've been messy in my own life.
Oh, okay. Well,
come on now. Let's tell the truth. All these hoes want to erase they hold them. Oh, I used to be a hoe, but now I want to be a saint. Now let me say, and that man, he probably went home and pissed all over her. Come on, this what you like?
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, Stacey, again on this channel, you are free to your opinion. Everybody is welcome over here.
I love you so too, by the way, baby.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Stacey. You have a good one.
All right.
Okay, so Jasmine is back. It was Jasmine, right? Jasmine?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you're back.
It kicked me out. I don't know why. Sorry. Thank you, Miss Stacey, for saying what you just said. So back to the BDSM that a lot of people don't know about, or they only see little pieces of everything. A lot of us come from drug addicted people in our family, manipulative people, so we can see all sides. I want to touch first on the suit and the clothes you were talking about. Y'all are looking at it from our regular perspective. She wore those clothes to deny him of his BDSM likes. He does not ever want to see her clothed. She is his sub. Everything she does is his permission and his like. She's denying him right now, disobeying him. So y'all are not even seeing it from their point of view. They're having a silent conversation in court. 100%. Yes, Diddy and Cassie. That's why you see him write notes every 2 minutes. He is pissed that she is literally doing little shit that only she knows pisses him off. On the other end of that, I'm never going to deny anybody's experience. Yes, both of them were abusive. They're both drug addicts. But he is 100% a sadist in the BDSM world. I have many subs that are Diddy's. They run the world out there at their job, but inside they are depraved and like the most craziest shit that we've never seen.
Hold on. So you are a dominatrix?
Yes, 100%.
So you're a dominatrix. So you're coming from the vantage point of somebody who
I've seen it all.
You are in the employ of men who are, I'm assuming, can be powerful and have money.
And they pay me to degrade them.
Okay.
Yes. And then in my vanilla life, don't get me wrong, I'm 100% with y'all, but y'all don't see that world. Y'all don't understand that world, so y'all missing that point. There is a lot more to their relationship than just the drugs. That is literally the dominatrix and its sub. So that is a whole nother world you have to explore if you're going to understand. And the reason I'm bringing this up is, so we might have jurors that are star-studded and want Diddy to get off, right? You also are going to have a couple more weeks where we hear all kind of testimony. We don't know what Diddy has on whoever. And he is, let me say, nobody is smarter or more manipulative than a drug addict. They're always going to have a little back pocket that they can bring out to get themselves out of trouble. So I think, yes, in all reality, we all feel he's guilty. But there is going to be somebody that wants him to get off to protect themselves. So maybe he might not get to the jury. Somebody will. And it only takes one person to be like, no, I don't agree with y'all.
Okay,
And yeah, he's guilty, but he's going to get off.
Jasmine, hold on one second. Because you then came in and you dropped some bombs.
I'm sorry.
I want to get some clarity. So, I keep an open mind. So even if she was his sub at the time of the relationship, legally, for the times where people were drugged and now it was against their will, I don't know that would fall under, like,
you're right,
coercive,
and that's why,
not like willing. Like, these people willingly come to you and say, I'm super powerful, but really, I want to have on some Perla and stockings, and I want you to degrade me because I'm very powerful and nobody degrades me except for you. But when you take somebody's right to do it,
correct,
then I think that's where it changes. So maybe there was some BDSM and some domination in their relationship, but
that's where I'm saying, like, in the beginning, I can't deny she was definitely abused in a lot of ways. But in a lot of our situations, we have whole contracts. We have to sit down and agree on safe words and everything. So at a certain point, you drugged me, I didn't like it, but if I come back, we're going to discuss this. Don't take me past this limit. This is my safe word. So at a certain point, what she's not explaining to y'all is she accepted certain things and kept going with her dominatrix. Her dom, because he's a male.
But I don't think we can. She was getting beaten against her will, and that had nothing.
I'm not talking about that part. I'm just talking about the sexual part.
You just wanted to give insight into
the clothes exchange, certain looks, like certain things are definitely a BDSM aspect. But I'm never saying there's not abuse.
Gotcha.
I'm just saying in those aspects, a lot of people, like, we're looking at it this way, and there's way more links to this. Like, if you've never been in the BDSM world, you wouldn't even have caught. It wasn't just a power suit. She's literally denying him of something that he probably told her she's not allowed to do. And she's doing it in front of people. He can't say anything. He doesn't ever want people to know that he likes eating other men's cum. And that is common if you ask a lot of sex workers. There are men that pay for that.
Wait, that pay for what? I missed it. No, I'm not being funny. I missed it.
There are men that have fetishes where they literally pay to watch you. It's called a cuck. They watch you have sex with your man, and then they eat the cum from your man. Diddy is one of those. So it's not even about rubbing anything on the nipples. It's the whole experience. So if you don't understand the BDSM, okay, best thing I could say is do a little homework on it. It might give you some insight in things that you're not seeing right now. Yes, 100% there is abuse everywhere. And then on top of that, they are junkies. So even it might have been times where she definitely didn't want to go back and she felt abused, but that addiction was like, damn, I can't get it anywhere else. I got to swallow my pride. I'm in withdrawal. I got to call this man, fix my habit, and do what I got to do to get it.
I got you. Oh, thank you so much for calling in, Jasmine. Don't be a stranger. Now, tonight we already had a person who works at a sex club and now a dominatrix. So y'all, our eyes and ears for those two.
Well, yeah, because I just want y'all to consider, like, we're looking at it a certain way, and there's other people out there that have whole worlds that we've never been in, or certain people have never been in. It only takes one juror to sympathize with Diddy. Doesn't matter if they have it all. It only takes one. And yes, we want him to be guilty because he's definitely a deviant. But I'm just saying we're in the first week. We got a long way to go. So I don't know. It might just be like, bam, he's guilty. No, we can't agree. Mistrial. Who knows?
Do you charge extra if they look jacked up like this?
Hell yeah! I'm not about to play with you.
All right, thank you, Jasmine. Have a good night.
You too.
Bree, you're up. Thank you for being patient. Bree, you're on. You muted yourself.
Sorry.
Hey, how's it going?
Mims?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I have you on my phone and I'm watching you on my television. But number one, I love you. You were the first one that I've been watching 2+ years ago in the backgrounds. And I love your perspective and your research. That's number one. I'm coming from a criminal justice background. So I see this case totally different than what everybody else is seeing in the moment. I don't feel like Cassie is quote unquote the star witness. I feel like she is the foundation of the pattern of Diddy. And number two, she's pregnant. So you got to get her in first.
Okay.
Everything that's to come is going to be what put him away. In my perspective, the prosecution has already proven their case, at least on sex trafficking. Because I watch you and I watch you every single day.
Well, I appreciate that.
When you take your weekends off, I understand the pattern. I understand it. I understand it. I'll be worried. I'll be like, oh no, where's Mims? I'll be waiting.
Diddy ain't got me yet.
So, Kavari, yes. Jasmine, thank you. Because like Mims always says, you got to look at things with an open mind and both sides of your brain. What everybody is missing is from the start, Cassie has been saying from the beginning, it was work. It was my job. So from my perspective, the prosecution has already proven sex trafficking because Cassie is saying, I am the sex worker. We have traveled New York, California, Miami, which one of the islands? Like Nevada, like Las Vegas. Number one, that proves the case right there of sex trafficking. Period.
What's up, Diva?
Saying I am the sex worker, even though they're trying to put the title as she was the girlfriend. However, they never had a monogamous relationship. So you can't cheat on somebody if you don't have a monogamous relationship. Cassie was the sex worker. And he moved her around first. Moved her around. That's sex trafficking, period. I just feel like because we know of her case civilly, they put her first, and because she's pregnant, get her on out the way. Everybody knows about this in the public already, but she's not the star witness. Everything else is to come. She's building the foundation of the rest of the case.
That sounds very similar to a lot of the attorneys that I've talked to. Bree's not alone in that mindset. All the attorneys are like, sit back and wait. This is just the start.
And that's how I'm seeing it. She's building the foundation of the pattern of Diddy.
I mean, I'm not an attorney, so I try to talk to as many attorneys as possible, but I also talk to the people in the courtroom who are just like, bystanders are interested in the case, and it's a mixed bag. You have the people who feel like Cassie's a victim, so no matter what, the next 7 weeks aren't even going to matter because they saw that tape and they feel he's a monster. Then you have the people in the courtroom who are not sympathetic to Cassie at all in any way, shape, or form. The tears got on their nerves. It's just a mixed bag, and you just never know. What I have said before I have to let you go, because this room is very packed, is if they have one man on that jury who ever paid for a sex worker, it's over.
I agree. And I think the thing that irritates me most is I am a female.
Mm-hmm.
I have been 19, 21, 22.
Mm-hmm.
We're not thinking about being an adult. We're thinking about pleasing people and making people happy. And what I can see in Cassie, honestly, is me. I'm passive aggressive. So I'm coming from a different perspective with the knowledge of criminal justice behind me. So I see it totally different. She was definitely groomed. And I hate to put this out here like that, but look at Beyonce. And I'll stop at that. People are groomed at a young age. And there's no, when you're that young and naive, like Cassie said it on Stan, she was already young with what's his name? Ryan Leslie. She was young with that relationship. She didn't even know about fellatio. And then when you incorporate rugs into a situation, and a person who is a people seeker, like just wanting to make people happy, I understand what she did and how long she stayed in it. Look at Tina Turner. Okay. So that's what I'm like. People, we've seen this already. So why are we putting so much pressure on Cassie at a young age when we already seen this in our generation with Ike and Tina? Tina stayed with Ike for how many years? Like 20 years? So that's just my perspective on it. So I'm looking at it totally different, and I have to step back from my emotions as well and look at it on a legal aspect. So I'm coming from all perspectives, but I just feel like people are missing the fact that she keeps saying it was work.
The people did not like you brought Beyonce up. But I want to, Miss Bree, I'm sorry. The back is super packed. So I'm gonna have to let you go. But thank you so much for sharing your opinion. I appreciate you. The Beehive will be seeing you. Expect the letter.
I love Beyonce. All I'm just saying, we can see what it is.
All right, thank you so much. Have a good one. Janae, you're up.
Hey. Okay, so I feel like Diddy is absolutely guilty, first of all. And I feel like Diddy has been a menace since at least 92. And so, but when it comes to Cassie, I feel like so many people focus on like the text messages that she did have a lot of like conflicting text messages. On one hand, in some of those messages, she was saying like she couldn't wait to go to have a freak off, or she said something similar to that, like as if this is something she really wanted to do. But in my opinion, I don't care if there were times where she actually did want to participate in freak offs, because there were also times where she said no, where she told him that she didn't want to. And to me, that's like a person being in a relationship with someone who you could have slept with 100 times, and you had consensual sex with this person 100 times. But then one day you're just like, you know what, I'm not in the mood. And that person forces themselves on you. Just because you had a consensual sexual relationship at some point doesn't mean like it's okay to force her to into a freak off. I don't care if it was only one time. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that is enough for me to be like guilt. Because I do remember seeing a message where she told him this was not what she wanted to do. And I feel like people forget sometimes Diddy controlled every aspect of Cassie's life. From not only was she his girlfriend, also I want to speak on, because somebody has said she wasn't really his girlfriend. She was just a sex worker. And in my opinion, if that was true in Diddy's eyes, then why would he care that she dated Kid Cudi in an attempt to blow up her car? If she was just somebody he would get his rocks off with, he didn't care about her. He wouldn't care about her supposedly dating other people. But I digress.
I don't know that I agree with that. I think if control is your goal, having them date somebody else is relinquishing control, and he wasn't willing to do that. I think he kind of saw her as an object, almost like a vessel. And the other points I agree with. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that. I think that anybody, he didn't even want Kim dating anybody after he was already with Cassie. And
this is true.
I just think he thinks it's all mine.
Yeah. And then the fact that he controlled all aspects of her life. Like, not only was she supposedly in a relationship with him, she was also her boss over her. She was signed to his label. And then also, I don't know if everybody else remembers, but at one point she also modeled for him. Because I remember it was like her and Lauren London. They were like models for his, I don't remember if it was Shine John or Ciroc or something like that. But I was like, he controlled her money. He controlled who she could work with in the studio. He didn't allow her to put out albums unless he approved it.
If he was, the passport shit was crazy.
Yeah, he controlled everything. And then people who say, like, why didn't she leave? Look at all the things he held over her head. A lot of times he would threaten to release these freak off tapes to humiliate her. Like, who would want it? I feel like it's hard enough for Cassie to even talk about the things. I can only imagine talking about the things she did sexually with this man in front of the world on this stand. But imagine somebody threatening to put out the actual videotapes of you when you want to leave, or you just want to disobey him or look at him wrong or say the wrong thing to him. He was always consistently threatening her and holding things over her head. So to me, there were like a lot of instances of coercion, in my opinion. And I definitely feel like there were times where he did force her to do some of those freak offs, but I also feel like there were times she was a willing participant, in my opinion, as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Janae, for calling in. This backstage is packed. So, but I appreciate it. And you made me think about something. They didn't even include the 2 breast augmentations within a week of each other.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, that was crazy.
Probably would have been some crazy text messages between the both of them. Maybe they didn't do it because the doctor who performed them is dead. But I would imagine that would have been like when I heard that she was having to have sex while she had UTIs, and that's super painful.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I gotta go. I got a huge backstage. So thank you so much, Janae. I appreciate you, and come back on the next go around.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good one. Aubrey. Sabra. I'm sorry. I need to change my context. You're up. What's up?
You pronounced it correctly, but
Sabra.
I don't. I say Sabra.
Oh, Sabra. Okay, I'm sorry.
No. It's pronounced Sabra. The Israelites, the Israelis pronounce it Sabra. So do the Arabs, but I don't because I'm not Jewish.
I got you. So you always spit some deep stuff. Let us know how you feel.
I worked with the police department for almost 30 years. Rico, I'm going to simplify this for you. And I think that the prosecution has a problem. They're tone deaf to their jury. They don't understand. The jury doesn't understand half the legalese that is involved. The first part of it is Rico. Bad Boy is an enterprise. Yes. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
When you have employees who are not your independent contractors, let's say that Cassie or Danity Kane, they weren't independent contractors. If they're not listed as independent contractors, they're your employees. Once you order your employee to do something illegal, you're in the middle of a RICO. Anytime you tell your employee you're ordered, or I'm not going to pay you, I'm not giving you royalties, I'm not promoting your brand, I'm not doing this for you unless you do this for me. And it is what he's telling you is illegal. That is RICO. It's that simple. Now, the sexual part comes in, is something that has been done. I guess they've recorded it since the Marquis de Sade. Do you remember that book written, the Marquis de Sade?
No.
Okay. What a person does when they want to control you, they start off twisting the relationship from a normal relationship to using sex as a control. They use sex and use it in different ways to control a person. It's also in slavery, it was called buck breaking.
Okay.
And also, the Marquis de Sade found virgins or inexperienced women, and he would brutalize them until they were compliant to him and fell in love with him and depended on him for their very livelihoods. That's in the French. That's a French book. That's a real story. It was acted out in a movie by this guy named Mancuso, who happens to be a horrible F-boy. Even in his old age, he's a bad boy. And guess what else? Guess who else is guilty of RICO, but they never charged him with it? Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner had those parties at his estate where women were raped, and everything else happened in those parties where women were drugged, and he filmed them. He was also guilty of RICO. But what happened with Cassie was she's an employee that he twisted the relationship so that throws everyone off, because we're all squares. We're all vanilla and chocolate and whatever, flavors. We're not swirly. He twisted an employee to a sexual relationship, which throws people who do not understand what's happening off. It's a different dynamic. He holds all the cards. He uses brutalization to make her compliant. She was brainwashed, and they do that in the army. Actually, when they're teaching men how to kill people in the army, remember that movie, The General's Daughter, where she said the general's daughter is based on a true story. The general saw his daughter being brutally attacked, and he told her just to, get over it, basically, because he wanted to keep getting promoted. And what she did was she reenacted the attack, and someone wound up unaliving her. It's based on a true story. And she worked in a unit of the army called PsyOps. It is mental anguish. It's using sex, using degradation, using humiliation, using drugs to beat someone into submission. It is brainwashing at its finest. And the way he learned that was from his parents, and the way he also learned that the industry that he's in.
His mom, yeah, I could see that. But Barbara, you always come and you always spit so many great facts. It's just today we have a super long line.
Okay, and one last thing I'm gonna get off this. If we had put him in jail when he had that stampede at that college where 9 people died, we wouldn't be seeing this. I don't mean to take away from your money-making thing, but what I'm saying is he had incidents that happened before this that had they put him in jail, they might have stopped him from doing this. And I'm going to jump down.
What money-making thing? You talking about Diddy?
Well, everyone's making money from him right now. Had he been put in jail when he shot that woman in the face at the club,
I get what you're saying.
Or when he beat up his college classmates. What college was that? Howard? He attended for a semester. He was attacking people then.
He beat up his girlfriend.
Yeah, when he had that stampede at City College and 9 people died, he wasn't doing it on purpose, but that's called negligent homicide. Had they put him in jail them 3 times, this wouldn't be happening.
I agree. And by the time he shot Natanya, he was untouchable.
Well, they trying to get him now because he tried to bite the hand that feeds him. But everyone is twisting up whether Cassie is guilty or not. Cassie was brainwashed, period, point blank. He used sex, torture, and drugs.
Okay, I got you. Sabra, I know is gonna call in. I just have the super long.
I'm gonna jump.
Thank you so much, Sabra. Amy J, and guys, we're gonna keep it maybe below 2 minutes.
My turn.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Amy. We just had a long
Yeah, I'm listening and I'm just like, I'll say this for myself. I'm still on the fence. And what I mean by that, every day I feel like emotionally I'm going up and down because when I listen to Cassie's story, it's very gut wrenching. But then I do research, like I did some research on voyeurism.
Okay.
And then, because I mean, one of the things that made me look up the voyeurism had everything to do with her, like FaceTiming her husband and having sex with Diddy, and her husband accidentally seeing this, right? And I was like, what is voyeurism? And then I realized that some people love being watched having sex, and they also like people who like that they like that. It's a really weird, like,
Hold on. So for clarification, it says warism is the belief that war is morally justifiable, both in principle and practice. Some proponents of warism may even argue that war is morally required, both for individuals and for their country. Is that the same warism you're talking
no,
about?
voyeurism.
Oh, voyeurism. I was like, Amy, I don't know where you're going with this. Voyeurism. I got you.
Sorry,
You
I
don't
was
have
eating
to
some
look that one up.
popcorn.
It might
Sorry.
just be me. I just heard warism, and I was like, I haven't heard of that.
No, voyeurism. No, I was
Voyeurism.
voyeurism. Yeah, because I was trying to figure out, like, what is it? Why is Diddy like so deeply invested in these freak offs where he's like watching people have sex and he's so turned on by it? And then how did Cassie get involved? I mean, I know drugs and manipulation, but how do you convince somebody to say, I just love when you're making love to somebody, it turns me on? How did they get into it? But when I heard that and this has nothing to do with whether I think Diddy is guilty or she's a co-conspirator, I was just confused when I heard in the testimony that her husband was FaceTime and he was completely turned off by it because it's sick. You know what I'm saying? And I think at that point, Cassie was able to kind of come out of some of the delusion of that behavior, because I feel like in some ways I think she wanted her husband to like that about her. And what she didn't understand at the time is Diddy's a sick individual. Not a normal person would ever feel comfortable watching somebody they love have sex with someone else. So when I heard that in the testimony, it made me realize how mentally confused this woman was at the time when she FaceTime her husband. Now I know some people heard, oh, she's a
Hold on,
hoe.
I'm missing. So you feel like Cassie FaceTimed her husband?
She did.
Okay,
Boy,
so there's a little confusion there. So what happened was, what she's alleging is after she was R-worded, she saw him at an Andre Harrell party and the feelings were still there, and then she had consensual sex with him. While she was having consensual sex with him, this was not a freak off. This was just
no, but with voyeurism, the person also likes to be watched
well, no,
too.
we're talking about the FaceTime is what I'm trying to
Yeah, and
come
that's
down
what I'm
on.
trying to say. I think she thought that by her husband watching her have sex with Diddy,
Her
consensual or
husband,
not.
her husband did not. That's what I was trying to drill down. Her husband did not watch her have sex. While she was having sex with Diddy, he FaceTimed her. Diddy saw the phone and saw the alias that she was using for her would-be husband, and it impacted him. She never FaceTimed with her husband while she was having sex with Diddy.
So her husband never saw her having sex with Diddy.
No, he
So
just
where'd that report come from then? Because that's what people were talking about that.
Yeah, no, he called while she was having sex. Cassie didn't pick up the phone. Diddy picked up the phone and saw who it was trying to FaceTime, and it became a problem because then Diddy realized that she was sleeping
Oh,
with.
thank God. Because I was
Yeah,
thinking,
no, no, she
that made
didn't.
me go into the hole. I was like, what the hell? Because I'm
No,
really
no, no.
interested in hearing why the hell somebody would want to watch their partner have sex. And that was something I was trying to like, but all the BDSM and all of the voyeurism and all of that stuff, that is kind of what piqued my interest in the stories of Diddy and Cassie's relationship, whatever that is. I haven't decided if I want to side with anyone. I think Diddy needs to go to jail, but I don't want to get too deep into like the conspiracies or somebody being the devil and all. I don't want to get into all
I
that.
can see why you got a little confused. When she was in a freak off with Diddy, what he would do sometimes would be to go to another room or another part of the house.
He did that a lot.
And advise Cassie through FaceTime or through like video chat what she should be doing while he watched. So maybe that was the confusion.
Yeah,
There
but he
was
did
times
that,
that he did that.
period. That was the reason why she became so exhausted of the freak offs, because he no longer was engaging with sex with her even after her sleeping with people and he watched. She said that he would stop even, like, it was a text message that she said that you're just leaving right after and you're not even like doing what we used to. Like, we would literally make love and be with each other after I let you watch me have sex with other men. It's like now you're no longer even turned on by it. But it seemed like to her that was what it was. And I got to like interested in what turns a person on and want to watch their partner have sex with another person, and how did he convince her to do that where she didn't see anything wrong with it at the time. That's what I said. Those are the things I pay attention, and when I'm looking at the transcripts and stuff like that, I get confused because I feel like emotionally I'm just all over the place. At times I feel connected to Cassie, and then at times I feel completely removed from her experience and feel like some things are just not making sense. So I realized that I'm too emotionally unbalanced to make a decision about whether somebody deserves something or not. And I can admit that for myself. I'm glad I'm not a part of the jury.
I'm pretty sure the jurors are having those same conflictions. But thank you so much, as always,
Yeah.
Amy J. Amy J has been around forever on this channel.
I know, right? And I ain't trying to cause nobody to be fighting and yelling at each other. I'm gonna stay out of this one. I'm gonna stay out the ring at this
No,
point.
this ain't the channel for that.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm gonna talk to you later, Amy J.
All right. Have a nice night.
You too. Okay. Tulsa, don't start no shit tonight. What's up, Tulsa? Sound off real quick.
Yes, I will. I will keep it short and to the topic. Thank you so much. And let me just tell you this. You are looking fabulous out there in New York. New York is you. I can see you up in New York. Okay.
It is absolutely not. I did ride the subway today.
Did you?
I did ride the subway, and I'm gonna start riding the subway. I've been calling cars, and they got expensive. But okay, no, like, so how do you feel? I know you have something.
Yes. Carisha. I feel like Carisha is the ex-girlfriend. I mean, is the ex-girlfriend, and I feel like, is she going to testify? That's my question. Is Carisha ever going to testify in this case, or is she going to be brought along later on when they bring Brandon Paul inside?
The drug mule.
Yeah. Okay. Because there were allegations that Carisha had flew to where he was to give him what he needed, right?
I don't think she's
allegations. Okay.
Is Carisha testifying, Queen Tulsa? Oh wait, are you going just by beautiful 07 now?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's my Cash App.
Okay. And I don't feel like Carisha is going to be testifying unless she has the best poker face. Because when she kind of said she was going to expose the truth on her own platform, and she didn't really say much, I don't think that the prosecutors would have wanted her even to do that much.
Okay.
I don't think she'll be testifying.
So Misa Hilton, why was she there and on a walker? Did you ever get any word on that, or why was
Mary J. Blige tripped her?
Okay.
No. There's a real answer to that. I'll get it to you before we go.
Okay. And then, so this is my take on it. So Diddy had the opportunity to move on. And let's just get into it. Even if it was a DV situation, he had the opportunity to move on. And she was toxic and whatever the case may have been. And I feel like she had that opportunity as well. I feel like they both had the opportunity to go their separate ways before it had even got, worse and worse, because there's no telling what she did to get back in. And I'm thinking every time she wants to get back in, the stakes went a little bit higher. And I think that's where they got to where the urine was in the mouth. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know if they were on good terms or bad terms. And then the one thing that I wanted to say was he did the black woman like this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Kim Porter, I don't know if y'all heard the book, but pretty much everything that was in that book is pretty much unfolded in this trial. I got to give credit to Kim Porter because she's the key witness in this. And I'm so excited that those girls get to sit in that courtroom and know that how filthy and disgusting that this man was. Because if he was filthy and nasty with this woman, ain't no telling what he did to my mama. You get what I'm saying? He bought Kim's casket a month ahead of her unalivement. Let's get into it.
You
Kim,
felt like it was good that the kids were in the room?
yes, because they need to know who the hell he is. Because he made it seem like he was something else to those kids. And now, you know, the curtains has dropped. The show,
I hated that they were in the room, to be
yeah.
honest with you.
Yeah.
I do think that one of the things Diddy did, and you'll see it in the court documents, is even when he was beating Cassie and she showed visible signs, he never let the kids see that. So I think he did try to protect them from who he was, but to me that adds to the more diabolical part of his personality, because you can't use the fact that you're bipolar and you're blacking out if you have enough awareness to know that you don't want your children to see it. You know what I mean?
But see, this is the thing. I don't believe that. I feel like the kids have saw something.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the kids have saw something, and
hotels.
Well, their brother. Look at their brothers in the lawsuit. They are seeing this stuff on social media. Their brother Holmes is in the lawsuit, right?
The slow one.
Yeah. He just as slow as, oh Lord, you know, Lord, protect him and bless him and pull him up out of that, because he's just like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But you know what? This is the thing. When you have all that money and all that power, you soon to become bored. So they got bored and they was just doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not get into that little kiddie pool that had all that baby oil up in it. But let's get into the swingers lifestyle. That is something that I would say society wouldn't just grasp at. They wouldn't know about the spankings, the humiliation, the discipline, the you know, the things like that. So it's different levels to the swingers. And I think that Diddy and Cassie were very tacky and very nasty with it, because when the swingers lifestyle or these parties and things like that, they are very discreet. They are not tacky, because I've been to them. And you know, I've been in the sex industry. I've done the CORN. I've done that. You know, I've had couples request for me to come and her husband could watch me get it going, or me and him could get it going. So there are different levels to that. But I'm just, yeah, when it comes to like the escorts and things like that, right? And it's to our consent, and we have the right to say if we are going to go ahead with this client or not, right? Well, you wouldn't know because you never been down that road. I have.
Okay, yeah, no. But I have watched the Players Club a bunch of times. Does that count?
Oh, baby. No, you need that real life experience. I mean, hopping in and out of cars, you know.
Hold on, but let me answer your question. This is what Misa said. She said, God is good all the time. Yes, I'm good, everyone. I'm on my healing journey. When I suffered my injury, I had chosen to heal privately. But when my son said, Mommy, I need you, I was right there for him, walker and all. I'm a mother first, for real. And I am my son's strength. And that's just what it is. Plain and simple. Whoever doesn't understand that simply isn't in alignment with me or anything that I'm about in life. I'm cool with that. I have a purpose-filled life that I live daily. I make impact. I'm not concerned with insecure people attempting to protect their insecurities on me ever. Let's start being real. People do real things again. Don't let this app rule your life. I promise you it's really good. It's really not good for you. Every moment isn't a glamour moment. Your best highlight reel. Some moments are as down to the bone as you could cover, as if you could ever in your life imagine. Layered and complex. To all my temporarily disabled and disabled people, don't ever be ashamed of your condition or the need to use the medical tools created to assist you in your healing or the way you need to move around the world. She said all that to say Mary tripped her. I don't know. So she's going to be temporarily handicapped. But Queen Tulsa, thank you so much.
Speaking of down to the bone, remember when Diddy had a surgeon, you know, he had messed Kim Porter up on that yacht. So him being violent and things like this, I'm just glad that the kids were able to see the monster that that he is, and he gets justice. But I feel like even with this case, they're going to keep him locked up, and I feel like they're going to transfer him maybe to Las Vegas so he could answer to those charges with Keefe D adding him into that lawsuit, saying that he paid him money and he was a part of that hit. The
Hold
FBI.
on, now, Queen Tulsa, we got. I have a full backstage.
Okay, I'm sorry. Listen here, can I shout my channel out?
Sure, shout your channel out.
Listen here, you all. Thank you so much, Straight Shooters, for giving me the opportunity, and continue to send those donations, whether if it's a super sticker, because Cash App is acting all crazy. We need Mims out there in New York covering this. We need him in the courtrooms to report to us. So thank you for your support. Now, my channel is The Queen Tulsa Show. You can find me there. I give celebrity news. I do the gossip. I'm a big Wendy Williams fan. So Miss Wendy Williams, if you're out there listening, I want to say, how you doing? And listen here, Diddy done. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Queen Tulsa. Guys, yeah, we definitely got to stick to the 2 minute. I'm sorry. I did not realize we would have so many. So maybe we'll do more of these, but we definitely got to stick to the 2 minutes. What's up, Goddess Noel?
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you so much.
Hey, Mims. Okay, so I have bullet points, so I'm really quick.
Okay.
First of all, I'm Team Cassie, Team Cassie, Team Cassie, Team Cassie, Team Cassie, and Team Cassie. Diddy is a piece of shit. And I hope the corrections officers go to his cell and kick him in the nuts every day, twice a day. Praise the Lord.
Okay.
No, for real. I feel like from your commentary and the commentary from other creators, the prosecution missed so many opportunities to they didn't ask the probing questions and they didn't connect the dots. I felt like they didn't connect the dots, and Cassie would have had the opportunity to look, not that she doesn't look like a victim already, but it would have, I think, made the jury connect a little bit more and have a little bit more grace with her. The other thing is, people were saying that Cassie was wrong for testifying after she got paid the settlement, but people don't realize that was civil court, not criminal court. And it's not like she volunteered to testify. She was compelled. She was subpoenaed. She didn't have a choice. So it's not like she was trying to spill tea and get the settlement and, have her cake and eat it too. The other thing I wanted to say is people were saying that Cassie was 22 and she was grown and she knew what she was doing. Yes, she was 21. But what 21 or 22-year-old has their life totally together? And that her age was not, it was no match for Diddy being damn near 40 and having the life experience he had and having the relationship experience and his business experience, being able to manipulate and get what he wanted. So she was no match for Diddy mentally. Well, not mentally, but as far as life experience. So people need to get off that. And then people were saying that, she cheated and yes, she did monkey bar between men, but that does not make her a bad person. We have all had our periods of erotic exploration. I won't say whole phase because that sounds nasty. We'll say erotic exploration.
Raise your hands if you ever had a whole face.
All right, and that's all.
Everybody had a whole phase.
All right, so that's all I wanted to say. Thanks, Mims.
All right, thank you, Goddess Noel. Thank you for sticking to the 2 minutes. So you see, Goddess Noel set a good example, y'all. Trish, you're up. And remember, 2 minutes, guys. Hey, Trish.
Thank you, man. Thank you, ma'am. And I just want to say you do Louisiana proud. I have been watching the show for a while. I'm from New Orleans, so I'm really thankful for what you bring. You're so intelligent and awesome.
You probably
So I just understand that. I really appreciate everyone who comes from a criminal background. I'm sorry, criminal justice and DV background because I come from the DV world as well. I am so glad people who have named like there are no perfect victims. People have to understand that domestic violence is literally how people have relationships. Most people who are abusive start a love pattern of I'm gonna give you all this love, and you're gonna crave for me to constantly show you love. And when I show up and do this big grand gesture of assault, you're gonna remember the love afterwards. So people have to say it's a constant pattern. So when everyone's questioning, well, why did she go back? Why didn't she leave? This is like any other relationship. When people get spanked by their parents, one of the things toddlers do is that they run to their parent who spanked them because they're looking for love after being hit. So we have to understand like the dynamics of abuse and love. It is a really hard thing to pull apart. So I think people need to really give Cassie a lot of grace because it's just not easy to leave those situations, especially when it becomes a pattern. And when someone is asked to leave a relationship, that's the unknown. The abuse is the known thing after a while. So I just want people to like give that space in that room. And I'll just say also, I serve them in jury. People need to really not avoid jury duty and sit in on jury because it's a very interesting process to just watch. And I think hopefully when it comes down to this, because I do think that Diddy is guilty for the trafficking and for his enterprise, I do think hopefully the jurors listen to what the instructions are from the law because when you hear the instructions of the law, that's when you have to separate your personal opinion. You literally have to go by what is the law saying? Do they give examples of all the things that the law says? Because if so, then they'll then find him guilty. So I just want to say that I hope you keep giving us updates. Thank you for all that you do. I listen to you, Tisa, and also Miss De Niro. I think y'all all do great things, and keep doing y'all.
Yeah, Diva's in the chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Trish. Have a good one.
You too.
Southern Girl, how's it going?
Oh wow, I'm here.
You're here.
Oh wow, I'm excited. Well, I am kind of excited. I've been watching you from the beginning. I'm gonna try to make this as fast as possible.
Mhm.
Um, First of all, I am a domestic violence survivor, and it's tough and it's rough. And I actually had a son from mine. He beat my ass all the way up, damn near through my whole pregnancy. I did not want to be a statistic, but that's just what I was. He has all the characteristics that my son's father had. He used to claim, he was a little dope boy trying to sell coke, but he did more coke than he sold. And I was a good girl. My dad that whole passed out here, and it wasn't something that I looked for. He was a bad boy. I was a good girl. But one thing about it, and two for sure, he put some calcium in my back. Can't no other nigga ever put their hands on me. Let me be clear. Now with
Southern
that,
Girl, I never heard that saying before. What does that mean? He put calcium in my back.
see, I like vitamin D. You know what I'm saying? Like he made me stronger. I survived that. I got strong behind that.
Oh, okay,
That's what
okay.
I mean.
I get what you're saying.
So I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible. I have to deal with him because my son is almost 28 years old.
Mhm.
Um, you gotta let go and let God in certain situations. But when this came out, like I say, I talked to him. I can't hate him. If I want forgiveness, you know what I mean. I have to forgive him, but he is who he is. After me, the same look that was on my face, his women after me had that same look. And I knew then it was not just me. And I asked him when he saw about the video of Cassie and Diddy. I
Mhm.
did that for me just to see what his head was. And that Negro had the nerve to say, yeah, that was effed up. That nigga, da. And I'm saying to myself, you've done worse. But I let that go. I say all that to say this. I don't like when people point fingers and say it's somebody's fault. If you have not been in a situation like that, you ain't got no room to talk, period. Then he beat my ass all the way up to my 9th month. You know what I'm saying? And that was on me, but I also was young. You know what I mean? I was young. I was not as young as Cassie, but I was like 22, 23 years old. You know what I mean? And then when you're in a situation like that with someone that's very manipulative, I mean, he's a master manipulator. And at the end of the day, those kind of people, life teach them a lesson. So to say all that to say this, you know, all that coke he used to do back in the day, he got all kind of issues, high blood pressure, Graves' disease, eyes about to pop out his head. God bless him. But all I'm saying, all
in terms of Southern Girl, in terms of this case, have you been
well, I'm trying to show the similarities of the control and what they do, the substance that's involved. Because I even tried it. If you can't beat them, join them. So guess what? You know
you
what I'm
started,
saying?
hold on, no. So you're saying that you started abusing somebody too?
No, 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 no. When I got with him, I didn't know that he was on coke. He said that was just something he did here and there. You know what I'm saying? Which was a lie. But I'm just saying with the abuse, with you know the manipulation and the lies and things of that nature, like people wonder. Like I said, I got pregnant from him. I had a whole son from him, and subsequently he had 3 other sons. So you got somebody like this
But do you,
bringing.
in terms of this case though, if you've been
Um,
following,
yeah, I have been following, and that's what I was going to get to. I'm just saying I was just an introduction to let you know that I was a the domestic, you know,
yeah,
uh,
you're a domestic
yeah,
violence.
I was just wanting to add that in, and I can relate to her because of that. But when it comes to this case, when Jonathan Oddie did his video back in 2018 and FDLE, you know what I mean, did that, and you know, you could watch the whole thing. That man said all of the stuff that's coming out now. And I feel like that the government, when they saw that, they gave Cassie immunity to probably testify against him. She got paid, but I think they gave her immunity to collaborate with Jonathan Oddie to push this case forward. And it just probably branched off to other things. You know what I mean?
Well,
Because I don't.
no, hold on, Southern Girl. So what I was asking specifically is based on, you know, you went through something horrific. In
Right.
terms of this case, do you think that they have proved domestic violence, or do you feel like they've proven, you know, racketeering and conspiracy?
I think they're going to prove it all. I think that the prosecution started out slow and a slow boil, but it's going to boil and get hot because even releasing the video, I don't think that was like a trump card. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no pun intended, but that literally was. That was something that if that was all that they had, they could have saved that. But they got more than that. And they put that out at the beginning. The federal, they're going to eat his ass up. And if Diddy can cancel Christmas. You understand what I'm saying? Like if that's what they got so much evidence and they put out that video in the beginning after his son want to get slick and put his little video out there. So the fans say, okay, little boy, you want to play? We're gonna show you what you got. That was a year and some change ago. If it was me, I'm not gonna put my star player out there on the field. You know what I'm saying? At the very beginning, not like that. They got so much stuff. Diddy can cancel Christmas, and everybody that's talking junk, talking about now he free, he free. They haven't put themselves in the situation to cast it. Their sister, their mama, their child, their daughter. You know, they haven't put that. You know, just in case. You know, you got to look at it from different points of view. And hopefully, when a jury go in to deliberate, like y'all was showing what racketeering is and all these charges, and I hope that they really put that stuff into perspective because he a monster. He's been doing it. And money, power, respect, yeah, he done lost all of that. And I pray he get all the justice that's coming to his ass on everything.
Well, thank you so much, Southern Girl. And again, I'm sorry that you
But don't be sorry, that made me a better woman. That don't be sorry, that was a life experience. Cassie, she a better woman. And all she did was expose it. So hopefully everybody that's been through this, maybe going through it, or has been through it, you know, they're not by themselves. And she shouldn't let that, you know, I mean, I'm married, but my husband passed away. I got married after that, and he was a good man. You know what I'm saying? So just because you go through something bad, that don't mean the light ain't gonna stop shining on you. It's a lesson learned. It's what you do with it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Southern Girl. Definitely call in when we do our next one. And
I appreciate you, man. You the best, man. And you funny and you cute. You got to get you a girlfriend.
all right, find me one. Thank you. Have a good one, Southern Girl. That H2, that H. Say your
It's
name.
that H2O.
Okay. What's up? How are you? Where
Uh,
you at with this case?
so let me say that I've been watching you for quite some time, and definitely love your commentary. You keep me cracking up, and I love Simone as well. Where I'm at with this case is definitely on Cassie's side. Definitely is um Diddy is a what do you want to call him? He's definitely a groomer,
Uh huh.
right? And he groomed Cassie very young. And this is the reason why she kept doing what she was doing. Like one of the callers said that, she was brainwashed or whatever. Um, I really hope that we have some type of psychologist or somebody that comes to this trial and actually gives the interpretation of situations like this and why someone would do that. That would give a
Mhm.
different perspective. But I don't know if they can do that in this case because Cassie is not, the defendant, right?
Both
So,
of them are actually going to be having psychiatrists who are
oh,
going to
really?
speak to the mindset of people in active addiction. Both of them.
Okay, so that's going to be, I think that's going to be a game changer when it comes to that. And also, last thing I want to say is that um, as far as the last caller, Southern girl,
Hmm.
I had a friend that was in domestic violence. She ended up getting killed. Um, so
Wow.
I know I wasn't supposed to say it on here, but and I saw the manipulation, the things that Diddy's doing or whatever. He would flatten her tires, and then come back and buy her new tires. He would burn up her clothes in her apartment and then come back, and buy her clothes, manipulating her. She just kept going back. And, we're like 21, 22. She didn't know any better. She didn't know, none of us knew, and eventually he ended up powing her and setting her on fire. Um,
Wow.
due to the fact that he didn't want this is when she kind of got tired of it and wanted to leave.
He
So
didn't
I
want her
just
to be with
think
somebody else.
right, exactly. Because she finally was like, I can't do this anymore, or whatever. And that, that's the worst time to leave. And thank God nothing happened to Cassie, right? He's setting people's cars on fire. He's doing all type of stuff, hanging people off banisters, right? So, I mean, it's just so much could have happened to her and so much could have escalated to where this woman may not have been here today, like Kim Porter, right? So, allegedly. So that's what I wanted to say. And just want to give my opinion. Thank you so much for having me on the stage.
All right, no problem. Thank you. Say it that.
That H2O, that
Okay.
water, that water.
Okay, because I first, so some like my contact is sticking, so I thought it said that hoe. So I
I,
was
I,
like, can
I
you say
get it
it?
all the time. I get it all
I
the
was
time. I'm like,
like, I couldn't see my contact that started like sticking. All right, thank you.
thank you. Bye bye.
If I would have called you that hoe, I would have felt so bad.
I've heard it several times, several times. So I'm used to it. We just would have been up here busting out laughing. So I
Oh,
appreciate it.
all right, have a good one.
You too.
Um, okay, guys, we're gonna have to because this backstage is still packed. So 2 minutes, please. Crack Coco.
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I'm gonna just make this sweet and short.
Okay.
I've been watching you for a while. This is just my new YouTube account, but anywho, I will say this. I understand why people feel conflicted about Cassie's testimony,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, I see it as an unfiltered or uncensored, excuse me, like tone. Like I say it like this. I am on Cassie's side all the way. She been with Diddy for numerous years. So I would not be surprised if she was doing demeaning things with him.
Mm-hmm.
And some people may see it as, oh, she's a conspirator. Oh, she's a perpetrator. I can see it that way from other people's perspective, but from myself, it seemed like a damage she do, damage she don't. Because even in the instances when people say, well, she could have left. Oh, well, if he was doing all that, why did she stay? Well, think about it. We see people allegedly die around this man, We've seen people go to jail over this man, such as Shine. We've seen this man do numerous threats towards other people. And a lot of people wasn't really vocal about him during this time up until I want to say, what, 2018? If that. And like Cassie was the one, mainly the one who opened the door late of 2023. So I feel like as much as people want to throw it in the air that she could have left this situation, let's be real. A lot of people wasn't even speaking about her during this time. That I believe a lot of celebrities that was around him or people alone enabled that behavior. That's just my opinion. So I feel like for me, it was an impossible situation for her. And even if she was to leave, as somebody that came from a domestic violent home myself, there's a possibility her career could have been killed, which I know may seem less important, and or something may have happened to her. It was a very risque situation for her either way. I mean, am thankful for her to get on that stand and give her testimony, even though to some it may not have been the blowout. But for me, we still got a whole 7 weeks to go, and we this is probably just the beginning. And like I agree on many instances, this is just the surface, this is just a foundation, you know. But I also do feel like she's protecting herself to some degree because there's a it's deeper than the BDSM, it's deeper than the swinging, it's deeper than all that. I feel like this is a big connective web of like, you know, I don't know, the celebrity world, and there's a lot going on. Like there's a lot in hand, there's a lot of tides. Like I
So you
feel like
feel you feel
mhm,
like Cassie's testimony only laid the
mhm.
foundation. It was not necessarily the red herring to prove the enterprise.
I feel like it could be both. I feel like it's definitely both. I do feel like, you know, if I'm understanding the question correctly, you could enlighten me more. I'm still trying to learn the legal stuff a little bit, but I do believe, like, as such as the RICO and the other thing, which is sex trafficking, I do believe both those things can be proven because in my opinion,
Mhm.
Diddy is the hand of a lot of organization that has taken place, such as drugs, sex trafficking, all that. Like, I'm just saying from what because I've been catching up with you and other YouTubers, he
Mhm.
has a long history of organization, and we've seen it time and time again. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really think he's gonna leave unscathed, as some may think. You know, just because she got on the stand and people didn't see the big blowout as they thought. But for me, I think she's really setting the tone, in my opinion. But if I have a little bit of time, I'll also kind of want to say this too. You know, I hope people do take this as a lesson to put their trust into people like him because we keep saying the same ish over and over again. And I do want to just, because this actually made me really upset. Like, such as Tory Lanez, for example. Like, I
Hold
know
on, hold
this
on, hold
isn't
on.
just about that. Oh, my bad.
We
My
we
bad.
can't. Yeah, well, no,
Oh,
we can't
dang.
go into that.
I know, but it made me so mad. But,
Okay. Yeah, no, we can't because I literally, guys, I know that there's people still trying to call in, but we're
right.
not going to be able to get to that. So,
No,
I
I
see.
understand.
Oh no, I'm telling to the people in the back that are still calling in. I'm sorry, the backstage is full, and we're already 2 hours in.
Right.
So maybe you guys will be able to catch it on the next one. I'll do more of these open panels, but they're not going to be 2 hours. So just heads up. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
And
you
keep
so much,
doing what you're
Craig
doing. I
Coco.
love your channel and I always will continue to support it.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye
I
bye.
appreciate it.
Bye.
So let's see where we're gonna stop. Um, yeah, I think it's like Dodie. That's gonna be the final call in. But yeah, we definitely have to keep it to 2 minutes. And preferably keep it to the court case so that when people are watching and viewing this tomorrow or whenever, they kind of have a clear understanding of what the initial topic was. What's up, lovely soul?
Hey, Mims, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. I wanted to come up to say a few things. I've been listening all night, and I can see this case from the legal standpoint and
Mm-hmm.
from the personal. Myself, when I was 22 years old, was drugged and essayed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And by the graces, and that was in a result of a pregnancy, my first pregnancy. And by the graces of God, I had the right people in my corner that came to justice for me right
Mhm.
away. Needless to say, I was 22, he was 42. And just so happened that what ended up taking him down wasn't what he did to me, was what he utilized to do what he did to me. And when the graces of God went through his door, they happened to find an abundance of it. So he's fed time.
When the graces of God went through his door, they found an abundance of what, like drugs?
Yeah. Yeah. I just so happen to be good friends with the narcotics team of the county.
So
And
wait, you turned your abuser in?
I I I I
I'm
I
loving
did.
this story.
I did.
Wait. I'm
But
loving
it wasn't like that. It was the person who helped me out, after I found out I was with child and still not knowing what happened that night. Um I confided. I confided in my friends as to what happened to me, and that friend took the initiative along with my now son that I have godfather. Um they got him from both ends. Um my son's godfather, got to him before the authorities did a number on him, and when he left, the authorities showed up and, oh, what do we have here? What do we have here? This, that, and the other. So his charges were enough. He had enough that were in that home where he got fed time. This man died last year in federal prison of cancer.
your
This was
child's
12.
father and abuser.
No, no, the abuser. The
Mhm.
abuser. The one who SA'd me when I was 22 and he was 42. He just died last year in prison. But it wasn't the charge of what he did to me. It's what he used to do what he did to me. That's how they got him. Now, I say that to say this. Everyone is looking, I get it. What Cassie went through was horrific. I can identify what she went through and at the age that she went through it. What people are confusing are the emotions behind what was done to Cassie with the prosecution. I totally agree with the callers who called in before who said Cassie is the foundation of this. That's why they had her up front. Not just, oh, yes, she's pregnant. Get it. Got to get her in and get her out. But she's building that foundation because even if what you said in her testimony, when they said to her, they were asking her about hotels, they were asking how things were set up, she
Mhm.
was the one making the calls. Let's not forget, he's got 34 counts against him. All he needs is one, and he going to jail. Now, when she's talking about getting all these these S workers in, they're bringing them across state lines. Yes, it was consensual. They were paid, but everyone who knows with prostitution, when you bring them over the state lines, that's federal. That's considered trafficking. Everything that they asked her about and what she went through and what she did plays along to the whole RICO statute they're trying to get him. Because next they're going to be coming are the ones who supplied the drugs, the ones who did the violence, the one who did that's what they're building their case off of. Everyone's getting wrapped up and he's guilty. He's guilty because we all saw the tape. We all saw the tape. We all saw the tape. That jury has been instructed specific things that they are supposed to look for, and they're looking for things that go under RICO and S trafficking, not for his horrific abuse towards Cassie. And I'm not trying to downplay what she went through. I
Mhm.
get it. And then something you said a couple nights ago that I just didn't agree with.
Mhm.
You said that she should have been in there and she should have been the Mother Teresa, I guess, with the hat and this and the other. What you're seeing from, and I can tell you from being a victim,
Mhm.
Cassie has come to terms with what has happened to her. And she had to forgive him to get it off of her to move forward. She said when she was asked, did you love him? Yes. Anybody else would have been like, no, I didn't love him. I was being kept there. I was kept. You could clearly see that there was love between them at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's Stockholm syndrome where she's identifying with her past captor. I no one knows. But she was on, I feel like she was on there testifying because one, she was subpoenaed. She didn't want to be there. She doesn't want to, and you even said it yourself. She has enough knowledge where she could have put him under right then and there, but she chose not to do it. She's there testifying because she's subpoenaed to. She didn't sign up for it. She didn't raise her hand for it. Legally, she has to be there. So she's only going to tell them legally what they ask. She's not going to offer anything extra because she does not want to see him go to jail. Because she feels like she's been vindicated for everything that he has done to her. She had to forgive him in order to move on.
I mean, specifically about my comment about how I would have done it, that was definitely I wasn't being serious. If you listen to a later video, I kind of explained why I
I did.
felt why
I
she was
saw
wearing
it.
a power suit,
Yes.
from a real place.
But
Um,
I said that to get you to see that.
mhm,
And she's not, everyone's like, oh well, she shouldn't be testifying because she got her money and this, that, the other. She didn't volunteer. When you're subpoenaed, you have to go. There's no whether you want to or not at the end of the day. And I took her testimony as when she's in there and she's in a power suit and that's a woman who's taken her life back and she
mhm,
feels good about it. So she's there to speak the facts. She's not there to speak how she personally feels. And
mhm.
that's it. And that's all that she's going to give them. She doesn't want to, you could see it in her face. You could see it in his face. And he doesn't, and yes, he's passing
Oh
notes
wait,
to be able to get to her.
were you in the courtroom, lovely soul?
No, 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 no. This is everything that I've gotten
You mean
from
leading
you.
up to this, like
Like
you could see
oh no,
them.
no, no, no. I'm talking about like things that you've described in testimony because I've
Oh.
watched you every day since the trial.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I've looked at other YouTubers and I just feel safer and more peace of mind being watching you talk about it because you're not going to weigh heavy on one side. You're just going to give the facts. And that's what I like about you. That's what I love about you.
Um, but
Um,
but I hate to do this because I really enjoy speaking to you, but I have to let you go
yes.
for the
Oh,
sake of time purposes tonight.
yes.
We went way over. And somebody said I was in the hood. I'm in the financial district of New York.
My heart goes out to you.
It's just a lot of crime, I guess.
My heart goes out to you. And again, Mims, thank you so much for being on the ground and covering this. And you're our eyes and ears, man.
All
Keep it
right.
going.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, lovely soul.
All right.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Again, we are stopping on Q Dote. So I have what is it called? Princess told me to take the link down. So please, guys, no more calling in because we're gonna stop definitely at Q. It's Q Doty, I think. Shanisa.
Hey,
Shanisha.
Mims.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good. I'm gonna stick with my time frame. So let me go ahead and get it out.
Thank you.
So the first thing, I'm just really curious if Cassie does go forward writing a book. I'm curious on the relationship that she's had with her dad or like what types of things she's seen in her upbringing.
Mhm.
Because, not that all cases are the same, but hearing some of the things that she went through, it sounds like she just really wanted Diddy to love her and see her. So I'm curious what her upbringing looked like. And if she felt in any way seen or abandoned through childhood. That's just something that's like at the forefront of my brain. I also think that I have trouble with people not seeing Cassie as a victim.
Mhm.
you know, when we're hearing the stories about what happened, you have grown men who have witnessed Diddy be violent towards other people, including women, even his own mother. You also have grown men who have been, on the receiving end of his rage. You know, all of this broke because a woman came forward to tell her story. So I just think we have to do better with giving grace also because of her age during that time. In my 20s, I went through a lot with, men and just in your 20s, that's your development. That's when you're learning what works for you, what doesn't work for you. But we've all put up with things that we probably shouldn't have put up with. It wasn't until my 30s where I was able to establish boundaries, know what red flags are, and know how to, just stand up for myself in ways I probably should have in my 20s.
Hmm.
When you look at that with Cassie, couple that with the fact that she's in relation with someone who's much older than her, has power, influence, money, access, and literally has the keys to the dream that she wants, a career. Again, we just have to do better at giving grace. The last point I'll make, I just find it interesting that she signed a 10 album deal. Actually went back yesterday to listen to some of like Cassie's old music. And
Hmm.
listen, not saying I'm like this huge Cassie fan, and I'm talking musically. I could take the girl or leave her, but Cassie barely had one album. It's cool for a little, yang yang around the house. It was all right. But 10 albums, girl. Some of Diddy's more successful artists have barely gotten three. And I'm just saying, I'm just saying, Mims. Also, if you go back and listen to Unofficial Girl, which is one of Cassie's old songs, that song was about Diddy. That song was about Diddy.
I'm not gonna lie.
Me and You.
I only know Me and You, to be honest with you.
I listened to Unofficial Girl, which was like one of her later hits, quote unquote hits after that first album. That song is definitely about Diddy. When you listen to stuff she said on the stand about him never choosing her and never
Mhm.
feeling like she's with him, go back and listen to that song. That's about Diddy. That's my
She
two
could have been
minutes
a,
on
she
this.
could have been a pussycat doll. She can hold a note and she can dance really well. She
You
would have
know,
been great in that.
agree, but the main star, 10 albums. Okay, Mims, because you being real messy tonight.
I'm not
Like,
being
okay.
messy. I mean, I feel like I feel like you everybody's not going to be Christina Aguilera, right? So
No,
she had the
no.
package. We saw she had the ability to make a hit.
Yes,
Um, Britney's not holding too many notes either,
you are absolutely right.
and she was arguably the biggest, pop singer in the world for a very long time.
Absolutely
Uh,
right.
just a thought. But thank you so much.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Messy Mims. Love the work that you're doing too. I'll see you later, Mims.
All right, thank you.
Bye bye.
I appreciate everybody has been doing 2 minutes or less, so I really appreciate that, y'all. Um, PW, you're up.
Hi, ma'am.
Hey.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. So I just wanted to make a couple of few points. I do think that uh people need to understand that there are different forms of pimping,
Mhm.
and one thing that Diddy in particular reminds me of, whether he did this intentionally or not, was the Romeo pimp, and that's the kind that does make you feel like you're actually the girlfriend.
It's
So
called Romeo Pimp.
yeah, it's a real
Oh, I
thing.
didn't know that. Okay, uh-huh.
So so it's not about like, the other kinds that we're normally used to seeing, but a Romeo pimp in particular does have you to feel that it's a relationship. You're the girlfriend, and then slowly but surely they start to expose you, and then get you to do things for them, allegedly, for them, but really that was their whole intention, was to traffic you, um, and then make you dependent. Just like another caller said, like she definitely became dependent with the drugs, because even though she didn't 100% need Diddy for the financial part of her life, but with the amount and access of the substances that she had, she couldn't get that anywhere else. And that was more intentional than anything. And besides, who wants to do all of that? I don't know anybody that could do that sober, regardless of the fact. So I do think that outside of it being DV, that was always probably going to play a part, because if that was his intention, then the DV was just more so for control rather than my boyfriend losing control. Because also, how can you cheat on somebody who really didn't claim you like that? So it's like on one hand they're saying she was a cheater, but on the other hand it's like, well, she never spent Christmases or anything. She was never really ingratiated into his family. So I just feel like they're talking out of both sides of their mouth when it comes to that part. But the psychologists and experts, I feel like, will bring that out more. But that's particularly what he did and why she wouldn't leave or couldn't leave, especially once you take somebody's passport. You take somebody's passport or you even lose your passport. That's just saying you're not going nowhere. Not too far if you try. Now the other thing is,
Diabolical.
right, right. That's weird that I want to say, but you could think about it, is that in some strange way, I see Diddy having his girls attend court, knowing all of this talk is going to be said about the exploits that they've had. It's like in a certain way, that's another type of voyeurism for him. It's almost like he want them to hear it, but in some weird non-daddy way. Diddy.
I think he wore cream and white every day, along with people seeing his jury. I mean, along with people seeing his children. That's all for the jury.
Right.
I don't think he gives a goddamn what they hear, because he could have been turned. Actually, it would have played to his favor if he would have turned around at some point and signaled for the children to leave before it got sexual. That would have played to his favor. But he's not smart like that.
But whether they realize it or not, it is somewhat of a backfire. But like I said, I also think that some of that is really like he feel like they're old enough now, and he really doesn't. He doesn't care about that part. It's like, well, you got to learn someday. Who's to say what was going to happen? But somebody pointed out that his girl's only like a year younger than what Cassie was when he first met her. So around the same age.
I think she was 20 and they just turned 18. But yes, that's
they met after they dating, but like when they initially first met. Because I think she said it was like 2 years before. They had already been knowing each other a couple of years before they actually started dating.
I got brain fog. I've been on this live for 2.5 hours.
I know.
Everything is blending.
But those are my main points. It's just I do think that he basically was a Romeo pimp to her, and that in some strange, weird way, he probably actually want his girls to hear that. But of course, you can't actually get that set up or environment in any other way without being completely sick. So having it heard in the courtroom probably is no problem to him, since he actually does like for people to know what he does anyway.
That is disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting. But he's going to some dark corner. But yeah, those are my points, Mims, and I do appreciate your coverage on this.
All right, no problem. Thank you for coming up.
All right, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Callie, you're up.
What's up?
I'm not doing the intro with you because I know you. So
it's all good. I'm probably gonna put up a video about this anyway.
You have a channel?
I just started it today.
Oh, what's the name of your channel?
So I'm doing my 5 videos so I can get in the algorithm. And then I saw that you were live. So yeah, I was advised to upload 5 videos so that it will put you in the algorithm.
What's the name of your channel?
Oh, well, I'm gonna start with this channel, and then I have another channel, GH Real Talk. That's I have to set that up tomorrow.
So when people ask you the name of your channel, you got to say Callie Nola.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Callie Nola.
They don't know if that's your name or the name of your channel.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be the name of my channel.
Okay. So yeah.
Anyhow, first of all, thank you guys for covering this, because it's not televised and we wouldn't have known what would have happened, and we gotta know. But anyhow, as far as the case thus far, now this might change with more evidence. It's feeling like they're trying to make DV a different crime because the statute of limitation has expired for DV. And as an American citizen, I don't know if I feel about the federal government doing stuff like that. Like, take away that it's Diddy and you don't like Diddy and all of that stuff. I don't know if I like a president being set where, yeah, we think you committed this crime a decade ago. We can't really charge you with that, so we just gonna say it was RICO. I don't I don't know if I want them to be doing that to people. It just kind of worries me a little bit that somehow that's gonna get out of control. I don't think a man should ever hit a woman at all. I don't believe in that. I was raised that men do not put their hands on women. However, I I don't I don't subscribe to the idea that if you're hit by a man, suddenly you lose all autonomy. You can't make decisions. You're not responsible for your own life. You've just been brainwashed. Women are just so stupid and dumb, and men can brainwash us. I don't subscribe to any of that. I think that she made a bad decision because she really wanted to be with this guy. And that doesn't give him the right to abuse her. It doesn't. He should have been held liable. The problem is she never went to the police and the statute limitation expired. Now, I don't think she was held captive. I think that she just really wanted this relationship. And my heart kind of breaks for her because you can tell that the breaking point was not the freak offs, it was the other women.
So you don't believe that there was an enterprise at all? Like,
no.
You don't believe that there was a
not so far, not thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Now, however, they have not presented all of the evidence. To me, this just sounds like two people on drugs doing weird and crazy stuff, probably because they're celebrities and they also have an ego and think they can get away with things on top of being on drugs. This is a lot of soliciting of workers.
So you feel Cassie was a co-conspirator?
Oh yeah, she admitted that she solicited the workers. I mean, this was in her lawsuit from the beginning, and I think a lot of people didn't read it. This is why I always has been like she was not being trafficked. Are they saying the men were being trafficked? Because that was the part I was like, is this about the men and she's just the witness?
Simone
or because she wasn't being trafficked?
Simone came on and said that Cassie being trafficked is the
no.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a feeling that maybe they didn't give her immunity, but they probably wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know, you solicited like 20 times.
So how can she?
You know, you got those drugs. Because there's no way she would humiliate herself like that unless they made her.
How could Cassie be a co-conspirator if Diddy did not have an enterprise?
No, in soliciting.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe there's any RICO or trafficking. I think it's all soliciting.
Gotcha.
Because how is he making money doing this? How is he making a monetary gain? If anything, he was spending money. He's the John, not the pimp.
I think once we start seeing the workers or his employees flip, then I think that will set up the enterprise aspect much better. Because like I was talking to somebody earlier, let's say that it was taken, well, actually it was on this live. Let's say that he's spending $20,000, $30,000 each party he has, and he has multiple parties that are business expenses every month. Now you're talking about a network of people getting him drugs valued at $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000.
But was this behavior part of the company parties? See, that's what we need to know. Like, were the company parties like a separate thing that we were doing?
Well, yeah, no, I think
and then he kind of snuck off and did these freak offs.
No, I don't think we're at the tip of the iceberg, Callie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Cassie's abuse was one thing, but once we get to the assistants who set up for the freak off parties and KK sending text message saying you need to provide this, I think that will establish it. Cassie's was the jump off, but we're gonna see so much more.
Well, the problem is that this freak off thing, unless they're saying that the soliciting is trafficking, but he's not making any money. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this was trafficking. I think this was just a weird, abusive, toxic relationship. And she did leave. So, I mean, this argument that she couldn't leave, she actually left several times, but she left for good and just stopped texting him and he went away. So this wasn't a situation. I'm going to be honest. I've been around women in DV situations where they're not leaving because they're afraid of the man. They love him. They have all the support in the world. They have all the family, law enforcement's trying to help them, multiple women. And it's just, this is their man, and they think he's going to change. He's not going to do it again. I even know someone that allowed their own son to be arrested because they wanted to be with this man.
Okay. So, okay.
You know what I mean? So I'm sorry, this idea that I'm just so brainwashed because I'm just a stupid woman and I just can't. No, I'm not going with that. As a woman, I'm not rolling with that. You made a bad decision, and it's fine. And he doesn't have the right to abuse you, and he should be held accountable for that.
What happens
But that doesn't mean.
What happens when she does leave and he sends employees to go get her?
But she did leave.
No, that's not. It's not the point. That's not what I. That's not what I.
To come back.
That's not what
I've been twisted around. Because
oh
if
no,
you
I
watch
definitely.
the documentary with
Hold
the
on,
guy
hold
that
on, hold
picked
on,
her
Kat.
up,
Hold on
he
one
said
second,
that
Kat.
he even asked her, "Why are you going?"
Callie, hold on one second. Hold on one second, because I'm hearing what you're saying, but James Cruz was the president of Bad Boy marketing, and also he put him in charge of her music management. She fled after being beat. I can't remember if that was the time that her mom called the police or not. She said she did not want to come back, and you sent the lawyers, music managers, and goons to the house to go get Cassie. So Cassie can't tell you what enterprise it took to make that happen, but that happened, and that happened with employees. So if they can prove that, would you be able to see that there is some?
No, I don't think she was being forced to be there. It would be one thing if she said, "I went to the police and they did nothing. They wouldn't even take my statement." That would be a different story. This is a woman who wants to be with. She named her daughter after.
I'm talking.
Like, I mean, we got to be realistic here.
I'm talking specifically about her manager and attorneys being sent to her mother's house after she left and threatened. That's James.
And she could have said, "If you don't get out of my house, I'm calling the police right now."
So you don't see.
Matter of fact, I would have never let them in. I would have talked to them through the door and I would have said, "Look, I don't want to talk to you. I'm calling the police. Please leave." And as far as her album, you and I both know that Diddy was not the boss, the big boss. I think that she had these mixtapes and singles that flopped, and his bosses said, "She's done." And I think that's what happened to her career.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Callie. You always set things on fire. And now Callie has her own channel, Callie Noya, where she will be uploading videos today. I do see that there are a lot of people in the chat that agree with you, and that's what it's about.
Well, can I just quickly say, I think the prosecution exploited her, and I don't think that testimony was necessary. She could have just testified as to how they were getting the workers and traveling and stuff. I really think they humiliated her to try to make a win for themselves, and I don't think that was cool at all. I'm also concerned that his kids will come seek some type of revenge at some point.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
As always, I appreciate debating with you. It's always a good time. Have a good one.
I love you, Mims.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, we got a few more, but just a few more. It's only 3 more. We can't take any more callers. So it's OG Patrice, Norris, and I'm hoping I'm saying this right. Qdote or Qdote, one of those two. What's up, OG Patrice?
Hi, Mims. How you doing?
How's it going?
It's going good. Thank you for all the work you're doing. We appreciate you being out there, boots on the ground, giving it to us live and in living color. So thank you for that, as to the other content creators. But I wanted to speak on behalf of, right quick, about the 10-year album deal. That was part of the control and manipulation tactics that Diddy did with her, because usually no artist that's a new artist ever gets a 10-year ever gets a 10-year. I've never heard of it ever, not even for the Whitneys and the Celine. Like, it doesn't usually happen that way. So I think that started as a part of him being her boss and controlling her at that point when they started a personal relationship. And to speak on the part about the enterprise, I think if we all pay attention to what Jonathan Audi said, it can shed some light on that, because I remember him saying, as being in the room, hearing conversations and also witnessing, seeing them put the liquid cocaine in the liquor bottles, and him also trying the liquid cocaine. So if he ever get on the stand, he can be a witness as a part of that. And then if he have some of the workers that say, yeah, I was a part of this going on, and this what was going on with the liquid cocaine being put in the liquid bottles, then there ends that. There, right? You have that. And then you have people have to understand, and I want to try to focus more on Diddy, because I think people losing a little bit of the perspective of Cassie's not on trial. Diddy is on trial first and foremost, right? So, but I want to shed a little bit of light on, people have to realize that there is a psychology behind abuse. I've heard psychologists that's on YouTube channels that are licensed, that have given their assessment of the behavior of Diddy as well as the behavior of Cassie. Diddy being a overt, malignant, narcissistic psychopath and sexual deviant. That's what I actually heard a psychiatrist say about him, if they assessed him according to his behavior far as all through this case. And Cassie is being diagnosed as someone that is a victim of Stockholm syndrome, a victim of narcissistic abuse, and also a victim of battered woman syndrome.
But
So
just
when
to clarify, these people have not actually worked with Cassie or Diddy. So
correct.
It's just an opinion, not
Yes, right. That's just their opinion and assessment from what they've, seen thus far. And saying that the behavior of someone that's under that type of person like Diddy is being, I don't believe that he ever loved her. I believe that people with his disorder, it has no empathy or sympathy or capacity to love someone. I think everything is a controlled thing with him, and I believe that yes, was Cassie young and impressionable? Yes, he was her boss, and yes, she might have been some opportunist, right, and took some advantage of some things. But there's a psychology behind when you got drugs and alcohol involved in all three of those said abuses that I just said she fell under. You tend a victim tend to mimic and mirror some of the behaviors of their victimizer, of their oppressor, right? And I believe that Cassie gave in and was privy to that. Is she guilty of that? Absolutely, I do believe that. With 34,
she beat that woman's ass.
Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. I believe that she was exhibiting some of the behavior that was done to her. And psychiatrists have said that a lot of victims of Stockholm syndrome, battered woman syndrome, and narcissistic abuse tends to mimic that behavior. So I think that that's what we got with that. But with the 34 charges that he's up against, they're anything that's going to stick to that wall, he's going to be charged with. I do believe, if it's early, I believe they're dropping Dago bombs, but I believe napalm bombs are going to eventually be dropped against Diddy. And I believe definitely that he is going to go to jail. I do. Prison for a long, long time. I actually believe he should have took that plea deal, whatever it was, because a lot of times when they don't take the plea deal, they get more time.
It was a really bad plea deal. It was really, really bad. I don't know if it's public knowledge yet.
Oh yeah, because I haven't heard what it was, but usually it's probably less time than what he will get if he's convicted and sentenced.
Maybe I don't think it's public knowledge yet. I have heard about the plea deal, so on the next Members Only Live, I'll discuss that.
Oh, okay.
But it's things are blurring at this point. Because
I
I
understand.
have to remember, you can't say this, you can't say that. This is not out. This will, fuck up somebody's case. Like it gets to be a lot.
Yeah, but Cassie was the foundation of the beginning of setting the tone for the character of Diddy. They want to display this journey. They taking us down this walk of the character and behavior of this man. So they dropping the little Dago bombs. But I believe people like Kirk Barrels, Jonathan Audi, and his people that actually work closely with him will be the napalm bombs dropped because they were a part of certain illegal activities going on. And if they signed a proffer agreement or was granted immunity, they're going to turn evidence against him.
All right. Well, thank you so much, OG Patrice. I appreciate it, as always. And I'm gonna have to think about if I want to put that out. Sometimes I don't even remember which. It's the brain fog. All right. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Have a good night, Mills.
Norris, and then Q T, and then we're out for the night. Yes, Norris, how's it going?
Hey, Mills. Nice to catch you.
Nice hearing you, Norris. How do you feel about this case? Do you feel Diddy is innocent, guilty, or do you think that the defense has made their points or the prosecution?
Can I roast him right quick?
Sure.
Okay.
I
am. I want to say Sean Satan Combs is a BAN. He's guilty. Puff Devil needs to stay behind bars. Brother Predator deserves the Donkey of the Year award.
My Brother Predator.
He doesn't love nor respect anyone, including himself. And one last thing, Diddy Lucifer needs to know what it feels like to have a man turn him around, bend him over, and leave him stuck with a butt full of nut. I just wanted to bring a little comic relief. I just want to say, continue the great work that you're doing. You are doing an excellent job. You are one of the GOATs of YouTube. And I want to thank you for taking my call. And I like the video.
All right. Thank you so much, Norris. Have a good night.
You too.
And thank you for being patient.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. I have not pronounced your name right even one time. Please tell me how to pronounce your name.
You said it correctly, actually.
With Q Doty or?
Yes, that was it. That's it.
Okay. So, yeah, please fill us in. You waited very, very patiently.
Okay, so what I wanted to say with the woman prior said about the 10 record deal, she was definitely touching on it that in the 90s that was a thing, like with Prince, Michael Jackson, and Madonna. They did sign those 10 record deals. I think Prince had the biggest record deal in history at the time, like $100 million 10 album deal. And after he signed that, he started putting on his face tape that said the word slave. So that definitely, I felt like the prosecution could have kind of played into that more, because those types of big contracts like that are a form of slavery, because they can literally control your entire career. They can say, oh, well, that doesn't count as an album, that's an EP. Well, that doesn't count as an album, that's a mixtape, and keep making you put out music, and counting only a few of them as albums and the rest of them as other things. So that definitely kind of encapsulated the fullness of the control that he had over her professionally. And a lot of people keep saying they're missing that racketeering part, but it's like, yeah, she was an employee, as the attorney Simone said. She was an employee of his, and the fact that he was having her solicited as an employee is already showing that there's RICO there, right? To touch on something, you keep saying a phrase about if there's a male who ever solicited a woman of the night on the jurors, then that he might have a chance to just cancel out, maybe the sex trafficking or something like that. Or you're saying that it'll be over as a whole. But I wanted to ask you, there's only white men on the jurors, right?
No, there's no black men.
There's black men too? Okay. And then there's like older black women as well?
It's a mixed bag. It's majority white males,
Majority white.
and
Okay.
it's I think it's like 8-4 men.
Okay. Okay, because I felt like more showing that I do think the defense is doing a good job at sowing the seed of doubt. I would be more concerned with an older black female like a Stacey Johnson. Like I would be more concerned with that, and I think that they were picking maybe older women, thinking, oh, well, they'll have empathy towards the victims. But I'm thinking like, you're
You
kind
would
of
think,
a
hold
with
on,
that.
just so I can understand, you would think that having an older black female on the jury would lend more towards the prosecution or defense.
Defense. I think that an older woman in general doesn't necessarily matter the color. I think that it's a mixed bag in that generation of women and their perspective. They can sometimes go, um, she deserved what she got, and she was actively engaged in it, and she was being bad. And then you have some that have empathy, but it's a mixed bag. You really never know what you're gonna get with that. So I think if they're sowing seeds of doubt, they're more than likely going to get it from there. Because even if a man is soliciting women, the large majority of men who do that are not in it to abuse the woman. They're in it for the transactional actions that occur with it, and they're not actually looking to engage in assault or violence on women. They're just looking for a night of fun. So even if they do engage in that, I don't necessarily think that that will warp their opinions or perspectives of guilt or doubt that he is guilty. And but I think with an older woman, I think they have a greater chance um, saying, "Oh, she's fast." So I think that that would be probably where they're sowing the seeds of doubt, and probably why he chose that woman to pay all that hundreds of thousands of dollars to help them analyze the jurors to decide who would be best. Then the other thing is you said on day four that in your day four analysis that Cassie was actually kidnapped when they went to France after he assaulted her. She wasn't allowed to leave that hotel room, and only his assistant would bring her things. So when the attorney Simone said that Cassie wasn't kidnapped, I'm like, I'm pretty sure in France that was a kidnapping. She was held against her will in that hotel. So I felt like they did a really good job in making that point already in the
Just just
kidnapping.
to, just to clarify what Simone was saying, she looked up the statute in California where it happened, and
Mhm.
in the statute it would be um the um, the distance. Kidnapping
Well,
has to be a certain
she was
distance.
talking about the intercontinental situation, but I was talking about the day four in France when they went to France. So it was a different situation, but
Mm.
I felt like the situation in France was kidnapping because she was held against her will in that hotel. And I think you said that the assistant brought her ice cream, like some treat, like she's a child, but she was pretty much locked in. That's what her mom called her about the blind item.
Hmm. The ice cream happened after the Intercontinental Hotel. The blind item happened after she was at a party with Diddy and he was flirting with another like female celebrity, and she kind of like glanced over at him, and then that's when he beat her up in the back of a truck, and
Yeah,
and
okay, yeah,
somebody did a blind item. So it's about 5 years difference. I think that was like maybe 2011, and that's when her mom. That's what makes me think the blind item was in Lipstick Alley.
okay. I thought, okay, I may have misinterpreted that, but I thought at one point it said that she was held in a hotel in France. So I was like, okay.
Hotel.
But and then my final thing is that don't play on Britney's top. Like she has chops. Like you can go back and watch her sing as a child on Star Search. Her and Christina Aguilera were both signed to Disney, and they had very similar voices. Christina Aguilera had a prettier voice.
Wait, hold on.
And
Hold on. You feel like Britney and Christina Aguilera had similar voices and the
if you go back, if you
range?
go back and look at the videos of them when they were younger singing, Britney Spears actually is a trained singer. She can sing well.
I,
When she sang,
I said she's one of the biggest artists, but I don't. I mean, okay.
No. Wait, when her and Christina signed, they both came through Disney. So that's why Christina parlayed through Mulan, and then Britney had Disney, Mickey Mouse, or whatever. But because they both had a very similar, like, musical theater type singing voice, they had Christina go the route of being a belter, and then they gave Britney this image of being like this wispy tone singer. But Britney Spears can actually sing. She's actually a well trained singer. She's not a Whitney Houston, but she if you can go back and look, there are videos of her singing full voice as a child and as an adult, because she did a record with the black bass player who used to be a judge in American Idol, and there's some recordings of her singing that record with him, and she
Well,
actually has a really good singing voice.
let me just say this. It sounds like you are a Britney Spears fan, and that was a really flippant comment. I'm sure Britney is a vocalist, so Team Britney, do not come after me. Thank you, Q Dote, so much for coming up. And thank you so much for being patient, because I know you waited a long time.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Okay, so we got some super chats to go through. LXU, Ja, LaShawn, Kim, Miss Rue, and Michelle. Thank you all for joining the memberships. I appreciate you guys. Question: do you believe because of celebrities being connected to Diddy could possibly dilute the case? After all, is it the case most would tread lightly? Is that why most never really spoke out? With what came out about Diddy, can you really blame them for not like waving the flag that they were his friends or potential co-conspirators? I wouldn't. Will it dilute the case? No, I think it just brings extra media attention because the stuff with Michael B. Jordan was so small, but his name was everywhere. Michelle's daughter, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Miss Rue 32 McGee, just showing you love, Mims. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining the membership. It's a very generous. Grown Woman Don't Try Me, thank you for gifting these 5 memberships. I feel like on my next live I should review these so that I can adequately thank you guys, not when I'm like dead tired. I'm gonna do that. I never do this, but if you sent a super chat on this live, I feel like I should do it on the next live at the start of the next live. What do y'all think? Maybe I can figure out a way to show it on the screen. I didn't really realize that I was getting super chats, y'all. What do y'all think I should do? Should I just do these? Yeah, I'm gonna do them on the next live. I did not see there was like 71. So I'm gonna do that on the next live for sure. I'm gonna start off my next live going over all these super chats. Y'all, please remember she was addicted to drugs. She was a junkie, y'all. An altered state thinking she's in love is not reality, and he's physically abusing her too. Stop romanticizing this like it was a real relationship. Yeah, I want to give each one of these the time and respect. So I'm gonna, if you got a super chat, I'm gonna call it out on the next live, which will be tomorrow. So thank you guys for being here. I don't know if I've done a 3-hour live before. This was a first. Probably a last. And that Casamigos earlier didn't help. So have a good night. Thank you guys for being here. I'll see y'all tomorrow.